must be.
Now they can hear us. I have had, yeah, man, I'm looking
My
cool.
fringe.
Look at my bangs. I have had such bad luck with technology today. I started a stream this morning. There is sound. Started a stream this morning. I was buzzing. And it was going to be admin. I was going to fix the camera so that you can hold stuff up and it would focus. Obviously, I've not done that. I was going to fix Streamlabs, because I've been having a problem with Streamlabs. I was going to unplug the mixer and replug it in, reconnect everything. And instead, because I was buzzing so much, it was high as a kite, I decided to get my gramophone, wind-up gramophone, that I've not used for 3 years since I paid a lot of money to have it fixed and serviced. We were loving it. We were having a great time. We found a Jim Dale record. Loving it. Loving it. And then I found the very expensive bit of equipment I bought for about 100, nearly 200 quid years ago, that you can record your own gramophones. And I thought, right, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to record a gramophone. And I was going to record a Making Love in the Afternoon song for you on a gramophone record. And then we play gramophone records, and then that would come up and it would be funny.
Okay.
Right? So really, it's your fault what happened next.
It could have been lovely. What's this shadow? Shall I put this on?
Okay, now my one's right.
Okay, well, let's have a little mess with this. Carry on, I'm listening.
And what happened was, there was a bit missing from this expensive...
Yeah.
You've got to follow that cable round, but it's probably on that side.
Yeah, okay. Everyone,
Welcome to my world. Okay. You see, this is it.
Excuse me, everyone.
This is it.
There he is. Hello. One.
There we go. You don't want it pointed directly at you. You
No,
want it, but you don't want it there.
I'm bouncing it.
But that's bouncing into a corner.
I know. I'm going to do this now. It's all right. You carry on. It's all
Well,
good.
what happened was, there was a bit missing from the thing, and then it basically broke the gramophone. So then I spent an hour trying to fix the gramophone. If you want, in fact, I can show you. Do you want to see the moment that it broke?
Oh, yes.
I'll show you the moment it broke, right?
Oh, you're excited.
I was off my face. I was wired, right? I think I genuinely, and I'm not making light of this, and I wouldn't, I think I have become bipolar. I think I've developed bipolarism. I genuinely think I have, because I've been so low, and then I'm flying. And people think, well, the flying must be really good fun. It's not. It's horrible.
No.
It's horrible.
Because you feel unstable.
Right, so this is me. So this is the gramophone, and look, we're playing some music. Look,
Oh,
there we go.
fun.
Listen to this. Play a bit of music. There we go. Anyone know who that is? Does anyone know who that is? Malcolm? There we go. Listen. Hang on. Play a record. Play a fun record here. Old me. Old man me. Well done, Freddie. Welcome. There we go. Marion Cran, the distinct. Listen to this Jim Dale record. That's me listening
Easily,
to
if you
Teddy Bear
drop
Picnic,
it.
pretending I'm on drugs.
Oh.
Hang on. Very quiet. There we go. I think we're up. Oh, I can do it here. Here we go. Listen to this. This is Jim Dale. Oh, you can't hear it. There you go. Oh, this isn't Jim Dale. This isn't Jim Dale. There's Jim Dale before. Jim.
Look at the wobble on that record. Yes, more eyes. Jim Dale from Carry On.
So, Jim Dale from our show. So, it's all going well. And then I tried to put this bit of equipment on, right?
Oh.
Which is to record your own call-out records, right? So, it's this my voice thing, and it's beautiful. It cost me a fortune.
It needs to be a whole lot tighter.
Right, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing it. You got to put that on there. This is like proper 1930s equipment, right? And then watch. don't want to be the guy that does this to the... Here we go, here we go. We're going to do it. Here we go. Here we go. Watch. Okay, here we go. Happens. Here it comes. I'm allowed to turn this at an angle. Get ready. Are you ready? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh.
Watch this. This is why my dreams break. I'm making a record, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Simulated raping a baby doll in a video. I mean, okay. Don't do it. Don't do it. Iain, don't. It stopped going round. What happened?
Was that the noise?
Yeah.
Oh.
What that is... There we go. Look, the handle's dead. I think it came off its belt. There is no belt. There's no tension. The spring is broken. Right, let's buggered up my thing. Let's go for... Now I start watching these videos. I'm not going there.
There we go.
That's me saying I'm not going there. Let's jump forward to where I go there, shall we? There we go, I'm there.
Oh, mate.
So I'm watching videos on how to fix...
Oh, don't.
Gramophone. I hope I get it sorted as well, Katie. I really... There we go. There we go. So I'm watching videos. Watching this guy. Listen to this guy's voice. Hang on.
Going to be doing.
Take it off. Let me see the top.
Perhaps just pop it on the floor.
Pop it on the floor.
And we can dip that down.
Let me see the top. Right. This is what I wanted to... Anyway, so it goes on. Only... We're going in. Then we go in here.
No, the spring is knackered because
there we go. This is you're watching my whole life unfold in front of me.
There's no tension.
There we go. And then it ends. Watch how it ends. Yeah, all that shelf space. Perfect. It's what I needed. Then watch this.
Oh, mate.
This is I'm destroyed. 2 hours. It's not COVID.
It's probably dust from that thing.
Probably.
Oh, mate.
I'm gutted, right? I'm beyond gutted.
I can see that.
It gets worse.
You've been foreheading there a lot.
Yeah. celebrate
Yeah.
you. And I sort of had to reassure them that there was going to be no snark. No snark involved.
We ain't got
Pure love.
We ain't got time for that.
We
man.
ain't got time for snark. So they're coming on in about 15 minutes, and I have to say I'm very, very excited. And then we'll do a changing rooms.
Oh yeah.
We'll do a changing room.
I'm in the mood for that. Yesterday we almost did a man oh man because
Oh yeah, Nat and God's Gift we were going to watch.
well because we got thinking about it because we were watching Take Me Out, which
I've never seen Take Me Out before yesterday. What a show.
I'd never watched a full episode. It's relentless, isn't it?
It goes on and they cram in a lot of girls and a lot of guys.
I'd expected it to be two couples either side of the ad break. Boom, the end. No. There are about 4 or 5.
And it's
there?
always the ladies behind the buttons. It's never guys.
No.
And then okay.
No,
okay.
because I don't know. Would that be a little bit? I mean, I guess in an ideal world,
But
you
then
would.
Man
but you
Oh
can't.
Man
The women were in charge.
was Chris Tarrant,
Mm-hmm.
and women would walk along like pushing like this with the guys, and then they just stop and go and push them into a pool.
Yeah, they would. They would.
English Man Oh Man or German Man Oh Man, where they got naked.
They did what now?
What the heck is going on?
Oh, and we also need to have a look into the Spanish version of Take Me Out, which is called Elígeme.
Lick me.
Elígeme. Choose me.
How are you doing today? It's been up and down for us, physically and mentally. So
I think I'm a bit better today. I think I'm a bit better. I don't know. It seems to sort of I get overwhelmed all of a sudden. But I'm all right today. Maybe I've had enough distractions today.
I'm going back to basics with the COVID. I've asked you when you come around to wash your hands.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the basics, and we don't want to go too much, but the R is way over 1. Way over 1. So I'm going back to basics. When the boys come in, I said, boys, we've got out of the habit. Can we, and all they'd been was in their mum's house, but I'd stopped at Tesco. I said, when we get back in, can we just wash our hands? Yeah, sure. And I texted Catherine saying, is it all right if you wash your hands when you come in? And
It's fine. I've still got my special hand stuff in my bag. It's all groovy. And I went in the garage. You know, I've started to go into the garage to pay now rather than doing pay at pump with a rubber glove on because I'm trying to just chill out a little bit more. But as I went in, 2 girls came out, no masks on or anything.
yeah, no one gives us stuff, but so I'm going to give more of us stuff, but without being paranoid or terrified.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be safer.
We do what we can. That's all you can do.
Exactly. And we're doing an escape room tomorrow, but we get to wear gloves, I think, for the escape room, which I'm quite pleased with. You right?
Yeah, I've got a 1 bit there that's sticking out.
A one bit.
I've always had that.
So I'm going back to basics, and I'm washing my hands, and I'm going to be making sure that I do everything I can to keep myself and my family and my cats safe, because cats can catch the COVID as well.
Yeah.
As well, you know.
I stroked a strange cat, a cat unknown to me in the street today, and that's probably a risky business now.
It is. It really is. Hey, I tell you what, this show tonight, thank you, it's the Late Night Alternative. It's the only phone-in show on Twitch, and we're going to open up the phone lines. But this show would not be here if it were not for our fabulous sponsors. So let's say hello to 34sp.com, web hosting provider. They're based in Manchester. It doesn't really matter where they're based because it's a web hosting site, but they are based in Manchester, which I think is good. And they have given us a code. So if you're thinking of getting a website bill and you need somewhere for it to be hosted, or maybe your thing has gone up, where your website is being hosted has gone up in price, or they don't reply to you. I had a terrible web guy once who I think he was going through a lot of personal stuff, but it just meant I could not get hold of him and couldn't get my websites off him. It was a nightmare.
A lot of people setting up websites now because your side hustle that you had during the COVID has become the hustle, right? So 3 months free using the code TLNA from 34sp.com. And if you don't like it, you can walk away.
Poseidon Safety Management have just signed up for another month. I think that's so they control us on Twitter. It's getting very feisty on Twitter. But I love the fact that the companies are all kind of tweeting the show and tweeting each other, and Poseidon and Gregorian have got a little bit of beef going, and it's lovely. Devon and Cornwall, largest suppliers of guard dogs. Cornwall's only authorised installer of Radar Vision. All the patrols are done by local people. Zeus, who is Nick, who's the boss of Poseidon. It's his dog, and Zeus, not Nick, was found abandoned at a year old. Maybe it was Nick. I might have got the story
No,
wrong.
he was found in a cabbage patch.
One of them was found, either Nick or Zeus. I don't know whichever makes you more inclined to use them, was found abandoned at the age of 1 and is now fully house trained. That's Zeus, because I don't think Nick is. And they just want to make their local place better, Devon and Cornwall better. Poseidon Safety Management. Follow them at Poseidon Safe on Twitter. Big up the Gregorian!
Right up.
Right up there, G-Man.
Gregorian.
Gave away some prizes last night, didn't he?
Yeah. Now people are tapping him up for mugs. People want mugs now.
No.
The sponsors are becoming a thing.
Oh, because Nick's been giving out some mugs.
Yeah, you know what Nick's like with mugs.
Yes.
He's a fiend. Anyway, Gregorian Emerson Family Law. They will not make a dramatic situation any more dramatic. In fact, they will try to smooth things through. They want to make sure that your family has the easiest transition into the new phase of your life. So give them a shout, Richard Gregorian, and they're lawyers, but they won't make it any worse. They will make it substantially better.
Somers Waste Solutions, James and Mark at somerswastesolutions.com. Your one-stop shop for all of your waste needs. And not belts. Not belts. Not that kind of waste.
Well, they might actually throw belts away. You
They
might be a
do.
belt shop.
They might do. In that case, I would like to apologise.
Have we got any banners for these
Yeah,
people?
we can do them the next time round. We just this
Oh, we're keeping it- we're keeping it
little
fresh.
brief intro. I think these lights are too bright now. I don't think I need that because I'm getting the light off.
And I'm getting the light off. That is because of that.
Yeah, exactly. So somerswastesolutions.com. Thank you very much indeed, our sponsors. If you want to sponsor the show, latenightalternative@gmail.com. We are going to be sponsoring the letters page and Viz very, very soon. I've just got to send them some. I've just got to send the guy that does Finbar Saunders some pictures.
Brilliant.
And I'm going to say, say whatever you want about us. Say whatever you want. Right, we've got 9 minutes until our guests come on. Let's get some phone calls. 0203 286 6370.
Yeah.
Or you can Skype TLNA show. I watched a brilliant program the other day, the last 5 minutes. Dallas Cheerleaders Academy.
What was that about then?
It was about, well, the bit I saw was about a young girl having her dreams broken because she was kicked out. She was kicked out of the final 30. So basically, it's a reality show for cheerleaders.
Yeah, well, they have a reality too, you know.
Daytime TV really has come on quite a long way since I was a young man.
I love a bit of reality TV at times.
Oh, come on, give us a phone call.
Not the current reality, of course.
I'm not saying anything until we get a phone call.
You just gurgled.
If you sub to Viz, tell them you've subbed because of us.
Yeah.
Because we want them to sponsor us. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening
And
to
how
you.
And how are you both? I thought I'd ring in because then we could
didn't wanna know.
get you to talk. Hello.
I am really tired, and I've got the boys here this weekend, which is great, but I'm really tired, and I'd love to just, so I'm letting the boys stay up late tonight in the hope that it means I won't be up before 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Right. And you said you're going to the escape room.
Yep.
So presumably you've got to wear masks and gloves. Have you?
Not
For
not
that?
when we're in the room. When we did one in Brighton, and we had to wear a mask when we were in the lobby, the foyer. Then once we were in the room, we didn't have to if we didn't want to, and they had assured us that everything in there gets cleaned. They have like big, instead of having people going straight after, everything is cleaned. I think for this one tomorrow, everything is cleaned. They have less clients throughout the day, so they can clean everything. I think we still have to wear gloves in there. And here's the thing, Alistair.
Yeah.
It's a punt. I know it's a punt. It's a punt that I am prepared to take. But if I go in there and I don't feel safe, the boys know that I will turn around and we'll go.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like, if it's by appointment, then it doesn't get too crowded, presumably, or anything like that.
If it's a what?
If it's by appointment.
Yeah.
Then,
No, they on their website they make it very clear that. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, but you have to crawl past.
Oh, do you want me to go and get it?
No. I want the boys to crawl past. You've got to crawl past. But hang on, because.
Oh, they've gone.
Well, hang on. Keep crawling, and I might tell you when to stop because there's a cat cam. Right. Crawl.
Oh, I see.
Okay, you've got to try. Get head down, second boy. Head down, second boy. Head down.
Yeah.
Head down. Right. So there's the camera. You have to try and avoid.
Da 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 da
Da,
da da da.
They can't see on that cam.
Da 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 da
Okay.
da 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 da
Go on, child number 2. Don't mention any names. Oh my god.
The fact that he went on the, I'm just loco. I'm just going to rush it.
Oh my god. Hello, Alistair. Sorry.
no worries. It's,
Oh, hang on. They're coming back. Sorry.
Da 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 da. No! Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Hello, scream. Hello. I need some Christmas.
Right. No, please go away. Turn that light off. Goodbye. Yes, Alistair. How can we help
Did
you?
one of them drop one on the way past?
No, I think Cat's done a poo out of that.
I'm wondering, actually, your kids must be as tall as Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they're taller. Yeah, they're definitely taller.
But anyway, I've had a good evening. I've just come off a Zoom meeting with my friends.
Yes.
Because we're going to, and we're still going to do it. We're going to meet in Worcester at the Premier Inn and go for a walk on the Malvern Hills
Beautiful.
at the end of the month. And we just sort of, was anyone a bit worried because of the latest stuff and everything? And we said no, because the hotel have got it sussed. I mean, basically, we're not allowed in each other's rooms. The bar's closed. You can get bottles if you want it. I won't have any need for that.
Thank you, sir.
And so it should be good. I'm looking forward for a good walk.
Go and have a good walk. Alistair, I'm going to cut you off because we've got our guests coming on.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, mate. Have a lovely walk. Excuse me. There's me.
Yeah.
Have to do, audio gold in North. Whoa!
Oh no. Did your game just get interrupted by an update?
Shut up. Audio gold in North London. Yeah, it's a bit far. I could contact Audio Gold actually. That's not a bad idea. I'm going there on Monday to North London, so I could possibly drop the thing in there. Right. So we got to open Zoom. Let's get our guests. Now I can't remember how we do this. Meetings.
I asked the girls what I should ask Dick and Dom, and they said ask them to do the Diddy TV voices, and I went, I think that might be a bit tricky.
Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, we've got no. Where's the camera? Hang on. I'm so annoyed with technology. Honestly, I'm right. So I'm gonna have to. Hang on. So, I've had enough. Yes, and I need new mixer. Oh look, they're in the room, and I haven't got a camera for it. Copy. Paste. Right, so now you can hear us. Right, okay. So now that we'll do the Alpha Sync logo in a minute. So now I need to turn on the camera here, but it won't let me turn it on. Oh Jesus! Camera 2, remove. Okay. How are we going to do this? Oh, Jesus. Bear with us. Bear with us. That is... Uh-huh. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right, hang on. Hang on. Screen 2. Here we go.
Right,
we can let them in. We can let them in. We can let them in.
They won't have noticed.
Here we go. Hang on. Is Dick short for Richard? Did not know that. Oh, no, I've lost them. What? There we go. There we go. There we go.
This is exciting.
Oh, God, honestly.
I love what you did there. Pretending not to know what you were doing just to build up the suspense. Hey!
Just terrible. Just as it said, Dick and Dom are waiting, I deleted all of the computer settings that I needed. Ouch. And I couldn't get any of them back. I'm having to do everything on my computer, Dick, and I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, it's working. Now, Dom, on the other hand, doesn't know.
Hang on.
At all.
And they can't hear you. Hang on.
There he
Hang
is.
on. I need to...
There he is.
Hello.
He's got a casual jacket on.
What?
You've got a nice casual jacket on.
Now, it's cold. I didn't put the heating on. It suddenly got cold.
Dom, I have to say, I don't know what the rules are for people in your position, but we can see evidence of a muscle relaxant next to you.
It's fine. It's the really expensive brand. Look.
Oh, delicious.
every corner shop.
I can beat you. I can beat you. I'm on Morrison's very own Suave at £4.25 a bottle.
Goodness me.
You celebrities really know.
You two are ridiculously well lit and well made up, and you got nice set dressing. I've moved that pot plant from the kitchen to here. You. And I rehung this. Ian, you would have seen this in the BBC at the Southall lifts.
Yes.
That plan of TV Centre used to be there.
Did you nick it?
Hold on.
No, he gave it
I
to me.
I bought him that for his 40th birthday.
I like that Beatles picture.
I love that
well.
Beatles picture.
That's from the Albert Docks. I nicked that as well.
His background beats mine, doesn't it? I've got the boiler cupboard just here.
I'm trying to work out what your DVDs are. You got Kes,
a selection of 1990
Human Traffic
and tapes.
Yeah, E.T., Goonies, With Nail and I. You know, The Odd Couple, always a winner. Pink Panther films.
Can you do me a favour, Dick?
Yes.
Can you just, without even looking, pick one of those records out at random so we get a real glimpse as to who you are?
No, at random. Don't plan it.
He's picking a good one.
I'm looking at it. There you go. Happy Mondays.
Oh!
Twisting your melon.
That is a surprise.
All the cups.
Look at the price of that. That was in whatever year it was. $11.99 for a 12-inch.
Blimey.
It's lovely to hear both of your voices together again on another platform. It's lovely.
Ah, thank you.
Well, now listen, I can't remember because I used to take a lot of drugs. But where did we meet before? Was it on Rise? Did you come on Rise, or was it Liquid News or something that we?
No. It was Rise.
Was it?
It was Rise, yes.
Because I've got a weird memory for everything now. So you were presenting, and your guest presenter was Kate Lawler.
Yeah.
Or co-presenter was Kate Lawler.
Yeah.
And she said something about an aeroplane blonde. Her collar doesn't match her cuffs, and got in a bit of trouble with it. But anyway, right. Yeah, we were there. It was just before The Bungalow was about to start on BBC One.
Wow. So let me give you two more things that Kate got in trouble for on that show. One, for saying Hitler was a great leader. And two, for revealing the end of The Matrix 3 before it had been released in cinemas.
Flipping it. Which is worse?
Brilliant.
Ian, the thing about Dom is he keeps things like that in his memory for forever.
Wow.
Like
Ian,
back catalogue of anything we've done. Dom's
Ian,
man.
we did a corporate together. You were hosting. We came on stage.
Oh God! I had a very faint attempt at a goatee. Matt Lucas and David Walliams came on. It was basically selling videos worldwide, wasn't it?
It was a BBC worldwide convention,
and I got to interview Michael Palin.
Jesus, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I was.
And I forgot Lucas and Williams were there as well. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I was very ill. I was very ill at that point. That was not a good. That was not.
Was that a bad time?
That was towards the. That was the year after Rise, I think.
Yeah.
And that was the tail end. Do we want to go there?
Let's go there. We're there.
That was like when I was really trying to stop taking drugs and could not stop taking drugs, and I was.
Before we carry on the conversation,
yes.
Is this streaming now?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, we're on. Yes, we're live.
No, well, at least you can compartmentalize your kind of roller coaster.
Yes.
Ours is just one big mashup.
How are you doing? So listen, now you have got an app out. Let's do some business and let's do some selling.
Do some promoing.
Let's do some promoing. What is this app that you've got?
So we were approached by a company
Dom
called...
doesn't look sure.
Look at Dom's face.
He's like, I don't know what it is.
It's Grace Hammer.
We were approached by a company called Snoozle app, who've already got an app out there. And they said, do you fancy doing a wake up app? And we were like, what does that mean? And basically, it's me and Dom doing little comedy skits every morning instead of your alarm clock.
Yes, please.
Oh.
But we've recorded hundreds of them.
What's it called?
Wake Up with Dick and Dom.
Oh,
but you
mate.
don't, if you download it though, you don't get access to all of them. So basically, they refresh it every morning, so you don't know what it's going to be. They randomly select one, but every morning it's a new one. So we've done hundreds.
So you could set the alarm, for 9:30. What are we on now? 9:38. If you can download it in that time, or 9. Let's do it for 9:45. Have a listen to what you get.
I'm so jealous of their lighting. Look at it.
We've got two
nice.
we've got two lights. But I was just saying, Dom, literally before you came on, I'm having real trouble with my computer. And I deleted all of the settings. I mean, it's installing now. We're going to listen to it. I've deleted all of the settings that I need to do this, what we laughingly call a show. And so I have to rebuild everything.
Isn't it great, though? Don't you feel like it's a great sense of relief that you have no one watching over you, governing what
Or watching us.
Yeah.
No producer.
No,
isn't it nice?
It is nice. I kind of think, and I'm, of course I'd say this now, I kind of think it's the future, particularly with when lockdown happened. So many people, like Richard Herring and Josie Long, kind of traditional performers who perhaps would, be in a live environment more, have come over to Twitch. Bill Al-Zafar and Limmy, and they're doing Twitch and they have complete control. Now, you can either do it straight and you can play video games, or you can do a kind of straight talking to the camera, or you can do a phone-in show, or you can create this ridiculous, stupid world like Bill Al has, where he's a football manager. And the possibilities are kind of endless. And stuff that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you could only do in a studio, you can do at home with your computer with a microphone and a green screen. We haven't got the green screen isn't up, but this is actually my house. But with a green screen, you can do it all.
Yeah. That's amazing.
You can do anything you want from that now, really, can't you? Yeah.
Let's face it, for us two, the great unemployed, it's the only way we're going to get onto any kind of broadcast platform.
Well, now
control ourselves. We've been fired from everywhere else.
This is all sounding very familiar.
Well, broadcasting geniuses cull from everywhere.
Why don't they ever understand us?
The alarm
I'm still convinced we're all right and they're all wrong.
So. Well, this is the thing. I bet I get so many people that go, why don't you go back on TV? You should go back on Channel 4, get the 11 o'clock show going.
It's just a matter of ringing up, right, and saying you're ready.
And you must get the same thing. You guys should be on telly. You guys get back on telly. But of course, it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, not really. Yeah. Oh well.
And I don't want to dwell too much. But is it? Are you just not in favour at the moment? Is it that you're kind of being overlooked?
Well, it's one of those funny things. We're kind of at a funny midway stage between having had our big kind of moment, which was in the kind of 2005 to 2010, around that kind of period. Yeah. To kind of then having later on, you kind of get that legend status.
Yeah.
Oh, legend. And we're kind of floating in that middle middle bit, and we might decide to give it all up before we reach that bit. I don't think I can be bothered to wait.
Is the moving on to, and also being a legend doesn't pay. Oh, we've gone out of focus.
Oh wow, that's mine can't go out of focus.
Don't sound impressed that we've gone out of focus. That's actually not a good thing.
It shows the camera's getting bored.
But being a legend doesn't pay the bills.
Yep.
You know, you can't feed the kids and pay the mortgage with that. But it is. I think there is, particularly with someone like you two, there is an inevitability that in a couple of years' time, the wheel kind of turns again, and you sort of become fashionable again. That's not quite the right word, but you have another turn that's coming. It's just whether you want to get there.
All it takes is one person. One person can change everything. You know, you look at like Mel and Sue. That's a perfect example, right? They were massive around the same time, like late 90s, early 2000s, right? Then they were on Rise, the second part of Rise, weren't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And then kind of disappeared. And I can remember talking to Sue Perkins about this. She said it was like sitting on a bus. That she was at the front of the bus, and then you spent the next few years changing seat position, going back a bit, forward a bit, and then she said it took one person to go, let's put Mel and Sue on Bake Off, whack straight to the front of the bus again.
Well, that's what we've realised, isn't it, Dom, over the years? It's not about a TV company. It's not really about the public as such. It is literally down to one person can change your whole life, you know?
Yeah.
If they become the boss at the right place at the right time and they like you and they're fans of you, next minute you're back on screen, you're doing the do, you know?
And that's almost inevitable with you, because there will be someone in 5 years' time who grew up watching you, who's in a position of power. You know, who at the BBC, who has an affection and a fondness.
Yeah, I find that with a few gigs coming in at the moment. Actually, you know, they're about 22 years old, and they're like, "Wow, we used to watch you when we were kids. So here's a job."
Well, in fact, that happened with KFC. So I was at hang on, we talked about service stations before. Which one was it? I think it's the Oxford service stations.
We'll explain why we talked about the service stations in a minute.
Yeah,
there was a reason for it.
Pretty fountains. Anyway, I walked in there and I got what was new that day, the vegan burger, right, from KFC.
Yeah.
And I tweeted or Insta'd a story. Straight back was a massive fan from when he was growing up, who's running this social media. And then before you know it, we're doing a big campaign for KFC, nicely paid.
Wow.
So you're right. It is going to be just someone who grew up watching us that was a fan.
This was what happened with you with Twitch, though, wasn't it? Someone tweeted about you.
it?
Twitch saw it.
Well, Jeremy Vine tweeted, and
which is always helpful.
And Twitch, and you need to get Jeremy Vine to tweet about you. That will do it.
Well, he followed us the other day. We were
Jeremy Vine.
Yeah.
So we got a ping up saying Jeremy Vine has followed you. Thanks,
Beautiful.
Jeremy.
The reason we were talking about service stations is because I was thrilled, genuinely thrilled, to be a guest, the first guest, I will have you know, on your podcast. And here's what I love about it, right? It's really silly. Me and Catherine, we firmly believe there's not enough silliness in the world, particularly with Brexit, and then with the COVIDs. There's not enough silliness in the world. And coming on your show and watching you two and Comedy Dave doing your stuff, it was a joy.
Yeah.
Just silliness.
Yeah, because people think that everyone needs to be shouty, arguey, furious about stuff all the time. And actually, God, you just want to switch off.
We're not just saying this as well, though, Ian. We panned a few names around and stuff, and we both agreed that you should be our first guest because you are a master at the debating area.
Well, we were debating about what's the best service station.
All right.
We were debating, one of these idiots put forward the idea that we don't need cheese or something.
So it is an angry debate show.
It did get quite nasty at that point. Yes, someone was angry.
It's supposed to be just a bit of light-hearted fun, you know, because, as you were saying, it's all getting too serious. We need to bring some silliness back into the world. So we came up with this idea during lockdown, actually, called the Dick and Dom Debate. But we don't debate politics. We don't do any Brexit or any US politics. No, we just do things that really matter, like what is your favourite service station? What's your favourite crisps? Do we like cheese? Camping? Is it worth it? Things that really matter in life.
It's about time someone tackled those.
Oh, it's a great idea, and they have people phoning in as well, and they have polls running on Twitter, and it was so silly, and it was so lovely just being in an environment where there was no meanness, there was no snark, it was just silly fun.
Well, yeah. Sorry, shut up. My dog. Shut up!
The best thing about his dog is, right, and he's still
Hey,
doing
dog.
it to this day, is that every
Shut
time
up!
it barks, he tells it to shut up, and it never shuts up.
It doesn't understand the word shut up.
Your energy on telling it to shut up when it doesn't shut up.
Is it an actual real dog? I'm expecting a puppet to come in or something at some point.
No, it's an actual real dog. She's called Pickle, and she's a long-haired Jack Russell. She's an idiot.
Charming, isn't it?
You haven't quite got a date for the podcast yet. Is that right?
Not yet. No, we haven't. But
As you know, when you're trying to get guests on kind of live or whatever, or on podcasts or whatever, dates here, there, and everywhere. We were trying to release at the beginning.
Hang on. Something's happening.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome to today. It's right there waiting for you to grab it by the balls.
Ooh.
You need a can-do attitude today. That's what you need. So get up, head to the toilet, open the window, and begin the most spectacular poo of your life. Raising both arms higher and higher until, with a massive kapron splat, you cry, I am a massive winner! To everyone in your house, and indeed the streets, everyone will love you forever.
There you are. That's a new way to wake up for
Oh,
me.
that's lovely.
Dom's face.
yeah, I think because you recorded about 200 of those, and that had to be the one that came out, didn't it?
Oh my! I'm gonna love that. Did you ever try and break away from kids' TV?
Well, we did Radio 1, and that was brilliant. We did that for about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And we did.
That was really good fun.
We did a game show called "Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old?"
Oh, yeah.
Yes, of course you did.
Yeah,
we set
that
the
was-
bill with little Nolly Edmonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, it was fine. It was,
Yeah.
it was
a
the
good
first time
show.
we were doing a game show where
Yeah.
we were like in suits, walking onto a studio with a big audience. It was a proper high-end American format that had been bought out by Sky, and 2-4 Productions were making it. And it was our first kind of little foray onto a proper LE studio floor. And we were churning out. It was like a sausage factory. We were churning out 3 or 4 shows a day.
Right.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Hard work.
So it was pretty hard work. It really was hard work.
But yeah, I mean, as anyone knows that's been in kids' TV, to properly break out, and never be remembered for that anymore is a huge task. I mean, Ant and Dec have done it amazingly well, as have people like Zoe Ball, Philip Schofield. But it takes a long time. We were with Philip Schofield's agent for a while, and they were telling us that Philip was actually out of work for many years after kids' TV, and he couldn't get a job anywhere, even at a local radio station back in his hometown of Cornwall. He just couldn't get a job because no one could take him seriously that he was out of kids' TV. But what was it, Joseph, Dom, that changed everything? So someone gave him the gig doing Joseph. Do you remember when he went into the West End doing Joseph? And that kind of changed everyone's perception of him. So it was
a bit of that. I think he went up the radar slightly after that as well. It was actually when he was brought in to Depp on This Morning with Sarah Green, I think it was. She was hosting, and he went back on there in his black hair days. And I think the nation just went, oh my God, we remembered how much we love watching you on TV, and it just suddenly kicked off again. But if you look at all the people that Rich mentioned that have broken out of kids' TV, all of them have done some kind of Saturday or Sunday morning TV. And usually that's the point where they then transfer over. And it only usually happens with ITV presenters.
Right.
A lot of the time, the people who start off BBC Saturday morning end up on ITV.
Yeah.
Very rarely do people who do BBC Saturday morning end up on the BBC. It's a really weird. You would have thought a natural progression would be to keep going at the BBC.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It hasn't traditionally worked like that.
No, it doesn't work like that, does it?
Annoyingly.
Dom, you hinted then, and when we did the podcast, you kind of joked about maybe jacking it all in. Is that a serious prospect?
No, we can't do that. It's similar to you, Ian. I know that you have your moments where you just think, do you know what? I just can't do this anymore because it's quite a brutal industry.
Yeah.
It looks glittery and beautiful and sparkly and fantastic, but it's quite brutal inside. And if you can't take rejection, it's definitely not the industry for you to try and go in, because you get rejection for pretty much every day, would you say?
Yeah, yeah.
Every day, whether it be an idea, being chosen as a presenter, a concept, just there's a lot of negativity involved. So you do get your days where you think, I could just leave all of this now and do a proper job.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you do things like this and you love it, and it makes you feel good. It kicks in the endorphins and the adrenaline, and it makes you feel good. And that's what it's like, the golden carrot, isn't it, in front of you? It just makes you want to carry on doing it.
Yeah, there's there are lots of good points to the job as well. That is the thing. There are lots of, really high points you get as well. That's the point. It's either highs or lows, isn't it? It's never kind of just balanced in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, watching from the sidelines, what it seems particularly cruel about this kind of business is that there is a limited amount to what you can do. It's not like you deserve it. You can't work your way up. You're either in favour or you're out, and you're in someone's mind and you're not. And so it's very disheartening. I've seen you.
Well, I'm starting a college course next week. I'm retraining to be.
Are you definitely doing it?
Definitely doing it, man. I've signed up. Next week. I've got a 2-year diploma, and then see, because who even knows what this world is going to look like in 2 years? The whole landscape is shifting, so who knows? But I imagine. The two careers will go in parallel. The dream was kind of to drop all of this completely, but I suspect that counselling will go along with this for a couple of years and see what happens. But
you're going to be the new This Morning counsellor,
Dr. Raj Persaud. Yes, that's right. That's how old I am. My first reaction is Raj Persaud.
Tell you what, though, I don't know.
Okay,
but we're laughing, but it could happen.
I think it will, because we got a friend, haven't we, Dom? Do you know there's a girl called Anna Williamson who's on Celebs Go Dating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yes.
She was a presenter on the Disney Channel many years ago when we were doing TV. And then she went away and trained as a psychologist, Dom, or something?
Well, she wrote loads of books about anxiety.
That's right. But she went back to uni to train as, and now she's kind of does that on telly.
Yeah.
So you're right, the two things can go hand in hand. So the great thing about that is you get to do your new job, you get to throw yourself in and get really passionate about it, yet you get to dabble in the shallows of what you did before obsessively, but you can kind of pick and choose that. In fact, a mate of ours, Steve Wilson, who did Kids TV with us, but also did the last series, I think, of Live and Kicking with Emma Ledden.
Right.
And after a while, he'd finished doing that and he's just kind of had enough. And he just thought, I'm not going to do it anymore. So he left, went back down to Devon, where, to live with his mum and dad and his wife as well, Lucy. But then this morning, and when he gave it all up, This Morning then phoned up and said, we'd like you to do all the gadgets every week on This Morning. So he's now set up his amazing company. Him and his wife set up a great company called, From Lucy or something like that? But anyway, he does that. That's his job, right? Wow. With Lucy. But then he gets to go on a train, go up into London and do This Morning. And he's really happy because you can just take it or leave it.
Yeah. Well, and also he's got something that he has complete control over. He's developing it himself. He's not at the whim of anyone else.
Yeah, but the problem is...
When you do get your college degree of counselling, we'll just let us know your number again and we'll... sessions.
God, we'll be your first patients.
Have you two done the jungle?
No.
Would
We've
you?
asked, but they don't want us.
What?
No, I would have thought you'd have been perfect.
We have tried year in, year out for the last how many, Dom? I don't know, 10 years to get on either Strictly or the jungle, and we can't get on either, so we've given up now.
Oh, you were very kind.
Literally, we made a pact actually. Rich said to me, "Look, mate, this has got to stop," because we got offered the first ever series of Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what it was. They took us into the office. This is when the bungalow was at high, and we were really young and arrogant. And drunk, and you remember those days?
Vaguely.
And we don't remember these at all. But we went in there. They said, "We'd like you to take part in this new show called Strictly Come Dancing, hosted by Brucey on a Saturday night." And we were like, "Well, that's never going to work, is it? No thanks." So we turned it down. But then, since then, because especially I'm from a performance background, kind of like a stage performance background, I would do anything to be on it. But I've missed my boat, so it's not going to happen. So we're not going to knock on the door anymore.
You guys were very, very kind about me when I was in the jungle. I found it afterwards, obviously. I didn't know when I was in there, but you both said some very, very nice things about me on Twitter and very supportive. So thank you for that.
Oh, do you know, I've always wondered if people who are on Big Brother or in the jungle, when they finish, come back and scroll their names throughout every single message to find out.
As soon as I got into the hotel room, the first thing I did was I phoned up my kids and I phoned up my agent and I phoned up Catherine, and then I just ordered room service, big pot of coffee, and I scrolled through Well, I scrolled through some of the tweets and then I just looked for the blue ticks.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you hit the verify button?
Yes,
so you
I
could see
did.
all the see what
the-
celebrities. Interestingly, Ian, did anyone not say anything nice?
Catherine was quite rude about me, I thought. I was a pussy and a snowflake, and I needed to man up.
They weren't the blue ticks, were
No,
they?
they weren't the blue ticks. No.
Insane.
Oh no, there was a guy that had been a debt collector on Can't Pay, Take It Away.
All right.
That was-
Known for their compassion.
But I thought that was so lovely. So, you guys would just be you'd have a blast on something like The Jungle, and it seems.
Oh, it'd be great.
Well, the problem is, and this is quite interesting to find out from you actually. Do you not have to be mentally made of titanium to even contemplate doing something like that? Because you know the way things can be edited. You know the way if you're having a bad day, right, of which all of us probably do, right?
Yeah.
You've got no choice. You are then having a bad day on television.
I bit my tongue.
Television, one of the biggest shows on television.
Here's the thing. This is why you would do well in it, because you've worked in television studios. You know what a television studio is. So as soon as I went in there,
You were at work, weren't you?
I was at work. I was being paid a lot of money to put on a show. And I went and found where every single camera was, so I knew every single camera angle. And
You
when
knew the cameraman's name.
I did.
Like Dave, Paul, Bruce.
And as soon as someone like Dennis Wise stood up to get aggressive with me, now I would probably normally stand up and tell him to F off. But I thought, well, this is going to be great. So he stood up to point and shout at me. So I kind of leant back, knowing that this was going to be 30 seconds that was going to be on the TV. And you'd have that mentality, having spent years in a TV studio. You know, of course you have moments where you relax a little bit, let go, but you know the gig. A lot of those people don't.
You mean you're on guard, right? So even like now, we're chatting, right? But we know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's been broadcast live.
Completely.
So you just know it's different from being in the pub. Whereas a lot of people enter the jungle, think they're in the pub.
Completely.
And they just talk about anything.
Well, that's it. They'll go on, and in the pre-show, like the preamble stuff, they'll say, "I'm just going to go on and be myself." It's like, well, be careful, because it doesn't always pay.
And they were being boring. I was being paid tens of thousands of pounds. I was getting the least amount of money out of all of them. I found out later. Yes, tens. But even then, I was still. It came out. It came out that Kez, the politician, had been paid £70,000, right? Because she had to declare it. And I phoned up Shappy and I went, "My God, Shappy, she got paid so much money." And Shappy went, "Do you think so? Mine was a lot more than that."
Wow.
Jeez. But I was being paid to put on a show, so I was working for 3 weeks. That's how I wasn't.
But
a
you got to work
spiritual
off the back of
journey.
it. You probably made up the rest, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I mean, it is the crazy, how we were saying there's good and bad about this job, but that is an amazing thing. We do get paid silly money for doing silly things.
But the reason I think
when you're saying tens of thousands of pounds for going into the jungle, some people don't earn that a year. And
No, exactly. But the reason we get paid that is for the 6 months, a year, 2 years where we're not working. And it has to kind of be. So yes, I'm aware that it was a privilege and it was the biggest TV show in the world. And my God, it was part of the deposit on this house. But then you might not work for 2-3 years, and that's
Or ever
how it goes.
again in some cases.
Well, yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? A lot of people think you get suddenly your life is changed and you become. There are some people that go in there. We've heard what happens to some people. The amount of deals they get off the back of the jungle, and they become millionaires in the space of 6 months.
Yeah,
because they're doing so many endorsement campaigns. But for average celebrities, you kind of go in, you're absolutely everywhere. I mean, everywhere for the next 2 months, and then suddenly. Life back to normal.
Yeah, and having watched it, I could see that they got the younger ones pegged for other stuff, and there was a certain amount of.
This is why I've got an issue with things like Love Island. Listen, I love looking at hungry bums and buff guys. I love it, but I went in there. Even when I came out, I was terrified. The psychological care you get before and after is awful. And I was terrified by and dazzled by the amount of stardom. Suddenly you come out, I'm more famous than I've ever been. 10-year-olds are coming up asking for selfies for 4 months, and then after 4 months it stopped. But you imagine some 22-year-old kid who's never been on TV, goes on Love Island, comes out, and they are a huge star for 3-4 months.
And everyone's telling them that they're the best thing ever.
And then it stops.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, who are you? What am I? The money from the PAs stops. You got a big tax bill that you weren't expecting.
Well, the next series comes on and you're old news.
You're nothing. You're nothing again.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you know,
terrifying.
and as we know, I mean, one of the guys that sometimes drives us to various gigs and stuff, he looks after a lot of those Love Island guys, and he says, yeah, some of them are traumatized by the experience because, yeah, they come out, they've got all this money, 2 months later, nothing, and then they literally don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe Love Island is who you guys should be calling. Perhaps you've been ringing the wrong production office.
I want to see normal Love Island.
Oh, normal Love.
Yeah.
That's great.
Insects.
Normal Love Island.
That's what I want.
Great.
Come on. You know, we don't want to see this sort of aspirational stuff. I want to see normal blokes.
You know what? That's a
Drinking
very
beer.
good idea, Ian. You should sell that in.
I would watch that. Are you two all right? Are you okay with the lockdown and the COVIDs and everything? Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Wow.
obviously there's far worse things being happening.
Enjoy.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's far
Hang on
worse
a minute.
things happening than drinking red wine. But yeah, obviously it was a bit weird because, you know, we in January, was it, Don? We got our diary and it was full for the year. We went 2020, this is it. Come on, this is the big one.
Yeah.
It's going to be our biggest year for a long time.
Years, yeah. You know, just various gigs. The whole diary was full. And then by kind of the end of March, early April, everything was removed. So we just had a blank diary. It was just like, well, now what? You know, what do we do?
I managed to do a house move during the whole thing.
Oh my
So
God.
we literally we had to move into rented between selling my house and moving into this one because just the timing was all wrong. So I was in there, and then suddenly lockdown was brewing, and my mortgage advisor was going, "We've got to get this all wrapped up now." So I had the removal guys all booked, everything sorted out. Had the builders booked, so I had to do a little bit of building before we could move in and get the carpets down and stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And suddenly they went, lockdown, deal with it. So my removal company completely cancelled. All the builders cancelled, everyone cancelled everything. And I said to the landlord, can I stay? Because I can't get into the house. And he said, absolutely not. We've got someone else coming in.
Oh my God.
So I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? But luckily, I managed to find a bloke with a Luton van. We did about 15 trips and socially distanced ourselves. And
But now the room you actually see Dom in is just him living on his own in a little studio flat.
Oh, Dom.
There's a little kitchenette in the corner.
Sound effects of a dog. There's not. I haven't really got a dog. That's not my kid's rug down there. I haven't got kids.
Right.
I just looked at your room, Dom, and it actually does look like a crappy little studio flat.
Whoa!
Oh,
Shots
guys.
fired!
Bloody hell!
Please don't.
This is the west wing of my new house. Actually, this is the room we just don't need that I put my computer in.
This is the actual breakup
I
of
know.
Richard and Dominic is happening here.
Ask me
Wow.
about the end. It's happening.
Right,
You
listen.
know, that's an interesting thing. Actually, I don't know about you two, but we don't ever argue anymore. We just cannot be asked.
Oh, we had a doozy last week
Yeah, we did.
because you were a dick. You were wrong. Don't. Right. Now,
What about? Come on. What was it?
Catherine was wrong about something, and but she.
If you tell us, will it restart the argument?
Yes.
Okay.
Catherine, what were you wrong about?
Well, I don't remember that version of events.
What
but-
were you right about?
We're not going to get him, Dom.
Oh, look, it's actually ignited the embers, hasn't it?
Well, let's debate.
Oh my God, Ian,
let's debate.
I'm taking the top off. Come on, let's do this.
Right. The app is Wake Up with Dick and Dom, and it's very, very silly. I'll show you in a minute.
It's brilliant. Encourage you to have a massive poo and all sorts.
It was #1 in the entertainment charts in the UK straight overnight.
Woo!
Shut up, really?
Wait, don't undersell it.
No, sell it. And you don't have a date for the podcast yet. I'll tweet it when it comes out because I'm in it. But what is it called?
It should be the end of September, early October, I think. It's called the Dick and Dom Debate.
Beautiful.
Actually,
And
fine.
it's Dick and Dom on Twitter if you want to go and have a little look there. I love you two so much. Honestly, I think you're so brilliant. And it was such a thrill being on that Zoom call and watching you work. You know, it's a joy seeing, you know, people that are really funny and really good and know each other, you know, having worked together for 20 years or whatever it is. It's just joy. It was magic to watch. So thank you so much.
He got straight on the phone to me and he was glowing about it. It was like, you just watch them and it's like,
Well,
you know.
it was great because we with that project we said it's only going to work if the guests that we have are people that genuinely make us piss laughing. So that's why we got you. Were literally our number one.
Oh, thank you, man.
Because as a broadcaster, you feel safe in your hands, and you to be honest, we actually stepped back a bit and we let you go because we had callers and we knew that is your absolute, your number one thing that you do. We just let you go, and it was so lovely. So that
producer Dave Vitti,
who we've known for years,
like that. He hasn't clapped on any of the other episodes.
Good.
Apart from
Good. And you've had Sarah Cox on, haven't you? They didn't clap for Sarah Cox.
Oh wow.
We've got Coxie coming up.
I love her.
She's ace. Do you know what? She's one of those other ones where you just go on her radio shows or her TV shows and she just literally makes you howl laughing. I don't think she understands how funny she actually is as well.
First time I met her, I just started doing the 11 o'clock show and I was at a showbiz, my first showbiz party. And Sarah Cox comes over and starts talking to me. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, it's Sarah Cox. And beautiful and funny and clever. And she's chatting to me and I said, yeah, that's great. My girlfriend's in the toilet. She went, I'm not chatting you up, you silly sod. So I was gutted.
He was.
Without kissing each other's asses, though, and thanks for the lovely comments from you, Iain, but there aren't many, there's only a handful, isn't there, Dom, of broadcasters we really kind of admire, and you are one of them, Iain. Because,
Catherine isn't. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
God.
Indeed, perfect.
Do you know why that is? Is because we are all, and I know you've had Bob Mortimer on here as well, haven't you? You've had Bob. Okay, so there's not many risk takers anymore. And risk takers are so out of favour. I talked about this earlier on when I talked about, I joked about, people not wanting what we kind of do or did. It's because we are unpredictable and you are unpredictable. And people in positions of power get absolutely terrified these days of people like us saying the wrong thing. Look, we're all professional broadcasters. We know exactly where the line is. Yeah. But if we all just carried on broadcasting and stopped a metre away from the line, what's the point?
I want to lick the line.
You've got to have TV entertainment where you're worried about what they're going to come out with.
Yeah. And that, it's absolutely right. Is we have never had an Ofcom between us upheld. Never had an Ofcom upheld.
And not?
Never, because we know what the line is. We make it sound like we're dangerous, but we're totally not. I had a boss when I was at BBC WM. She said, your show scares me because I don't know what you're going to do. And I said, that should excite you.
Yeah, but they want everything written down, don't they?
Should excite you.
Well,
do you know? I listened to your show on BBC WM. And because I remember I called in, didn't I? And I bottled it and I left.
Oh God, yes, you did, yes.
Because you had a caller on, and they were talking about hitting children is okay.
Yeah.
You beautifully did the segue. You went, oh, do you think hitting children okay? Well, let's find out from. And I went, oh my God. And I just put the phone down, and I'm so sorry.
Because he agrees with hitting children. Yeah. That's the thing, he agrees with it, and he didn't want his views to be known.
Yeah, no, they were in my paranoid days. I'm over it now.
Well, we thought we knew what we were doing as broadcasters, and you've not had any Ofcom upheld. How many we had, Dom? 3?
No. What have you? Go on, give us one. What have you had an Ofcom for?
We had the T-shirt episode on Bungalow.
Morning Wood
T-shirt.
I remember that. It was a great T-shirt.
Name, obviously. What was the other one? We had the girl that threw up into a bucket. Was that one, Dom?
That was on a program show we did called Hoopla, which lasted one series and then got taken away because it got some Ofcom complaints, which was terrible. You've basically Rich dressed up as a Gypsy Rose, I think her name was, rag, and force fed this girl wet chips in a liquidizer.
Those were the days.
See? People just don't want this anymore. Why?
Old-fashioned variety.
I know, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dick and Dom.
Wet chips in a liquidizer.
And a light gag reflex.
Dear God. On that bombshell. It's so lovely to see you. You're welcome to come on anytime you want, and we've kept you much longer than I said we would, but thank you so much, boys.
Do you know what would have been nicer is if you two had done it and we two had been together doing it as well.
But we know you don't really get on in real life, so I thought we were mentioning
what's your plans for this in the future? Are you going to have people on with you in the future, or you're always going to do it like
when
this?
it gets safe? Yeah, when it gets safe, we might get a little audience together. We want people to kind of come in and stuff. So yeah, when
we might go out.
We might go. We're going to do it from people's houses. That's the thing, because you just need a laptop.
Great idea.
stuff, but not
Parade-
until
parade
there's a
flip.
vaccine. Not until there's a vaccine. I'm going nowhere till there's a vaccine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You've been a good boy.
Being a very good boy, it scares me, man. It scares me. I've started washing my hands regularly again. I'd sort of let that slip for a little while, and when the boys I got my kids here tonight, and I said, boys, we're going to start washing our hands every time we come in, and that our numbers on the rise.
They're going to come over and watch Disney movies and play Scrabble. No,
Yeah.
washing hands.
Hand wash time again.
Hand wash time, boys.
Come round ours next time we're together, Ian. We'll liquidize you some chips.
Oh, God. Hello, Wood. It's nice to see you, chaps. Best of luck with the podcast, and let us know if we can help in any way whatsoever, because we love you so much.
Oh, God bless you. Well, let's do something ridiculous together again sometime.
All right.
Be lovely.
See you later on, guys. Take care.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye. There we go. Aren't they delightful? Well, that was...
I'm glad Dom got the memo about stripy tops. No one else fulfilled their brief.
Well, that was 40 minutes, and I said it would be 20.
Oh, they're so lovely.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got more OFCOMs than we have. Flipping heck!
I mean, the chip thing.
Flipping heck! Those naughty boys! Right. If you've not subscribed, subscribe now. You owe us for that.
You do.
You owe us for that. That was 40. That was the best 40 minutes I think I've been involved in years in broadcasting. How lovely. And no, none of it, guess what? None of us said the word bogies. Even though you're all shouting it in there, not one of us said it. Listen, if you're not a follower and you enjoyed that, click follow. That doesn't cost you a penny. Click follow. If you're not a subscriber and you enjoyed that, if you've got Amazon Prime, link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You can subscribe to us. It's free. We get a fiver, £2.50 each. Money that you could never spend. You have to renew it every month. Comes directly from Jeff Bezos' divorce settlement, okay? It's money from Bezos' pocket that goes to us.
You won't even notice.
Doesn't cost you a penny. If you haven't got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe with cash. And it's September, so you get, let me get this right. You get 20% off on a month, 25% off on 3 months, and 30% off on 6 months subscription. Matty, one of my mods, has just posted the link. And that money gets split between me and Catherine, 50-50, straight down the middle. If you're a tier 3, we're going to have a tier 3 production meeting. In fact, we should probably sort the date out. It will be at the end of September, which is hurtling towards us.
It is.
So we should have, we'll have that. So please, follow or subscribe, because you owe us for that. That was great.
We want Dick and Dom on Twitch.
Yeah.
They would be awesome, wouldn't they?
So relaxed. And they've both got, Dom more so than Dick, but they've both got just that naughty twinkle. Just a twinkle. And that's why I think there's...
But they managed to do that in separate rooms then.
Yeah.
Imagine together.
That's why kids love them.
Yeah.
Because they speak the same language as kids, which I tried to explain that to some people, and they go, what do you mean? It's
the difference between a big brother and an uncle.
Yeah. And there's just a hint of, with them, you get like, they're saying something to the adults and they turn to the kids and go, I didn't really mean that.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, sir, I love it. More so than Trevor and Simon. Trevor and Simon never really clicked with me.
They're a bit too grown up.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. I got a lot of respect for them. They didn't really click with me. But Dick and Dom, there's just... I forgot they did Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old? Let me tell you a story about that show. That was my idea.
What was?
Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old?
They said it was an American idea.
Yep.
Oh, right. You had an idea and didn't tell anyone.
Excuse me. I was in America filming a TV show called for Sky, where we took a Prince William incorrect data. That was the second one that was rubbish. Was it that? No, where we took a David Beckham and a Posh Spice lookalike.
Oh yeah.
Around LA. I guess one of the cats. I'm telling a really important story.
Come in quickly and stop messing about, Pats.
Where I was taking Posh, and I was thinking I might do a rewatch of that on the stream at some point. And I went to bed in my hotel room. And I watched a show. I turned the TV on, and there was a show called Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old?
Oh, okay.
Right? And I watched it, and I thought, this is brilliant.
Is this true?
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Just checking.
This is true. And this is why I hate show business.
Yeah.
The next morning, I came downstairs, right? And this is when I was still a little bit hot. And I said to the producer, whose name escapes me, but she was the daughter of a famous author. And I said, I've just seen this amazing show, right? I need to speak to a commissioner at Channel 4. This is going to be huge. Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old? It's incredible.
And there's your mistake.
Right. The production company was a little production company called 24 Productions. Do you remember the name of the production company that Dick and Dom said made Are You Smarter Than a 10-Year-Old? 24 Productions.
Yeah.
I remember I said it to this producer and she went, oh, I don't know. It doesn't really sound like the kind of thing they go for. 6 months later, it's on telly, made by that production company.
That's an outrage, man.
What was her name? She was the
I thought of Big Brother. I was at university and I was at my friend's house and I said, can you imagine if they put cameras on tracks in this house and people could interact with them and you could watch who you wanted? I came up with that, but I just never told anyone.
I was at university before you and I actually thought of that. We were going to spend a whole weekend with 2 video cameras. We were all going to be locked in.
Yeah.
And we're going to have 2 rooms. We're going to lock off all the other rooms. You'd have the living room where we'd all be, and then you'd be able to go to the toilet where you'd be able to record a video diary.
All right. No, my idea was more interactive. In fact, it was better than Big Brother
There we
because
go.
the viewer could direct where the camera followed. So all the cameras were on tracks on the ceiling was my thought. I didn't really know anything about telly then.
Darling.
And then I don't know anything about telly now, really. And so that was the way they were going to do it. So it would have been even more interactive. And I bet they do it in the future, and it will be my idea. So just remember.
What was her name? She was the daughter of a famous author. Iain Lee, Prince William. Excuse me, darling girl. No, not Prince. It wasn't Prince William. It wasn't that one. That was the second one that was rubbish. They were going to send this to Japan.
Posh and Becks.
Posh and Becks. Meet the Beckhams. What was her name?
They came and did an It's a Knockout thing.
They're good, those two. She kept getting drunk, and I had to tell her off when she was drunk in the back of a limousine, and it was really late. And I said, "Can you just sober up for 1 minute so we can do this shot, and then we can all go to bed?"
That always works, doesn't it?
It was a really, really good show, actually. We got in so much trouble. We got kicked out of the Ivy, and they threatened us with the. It was brilliant. Let me just skip to the end. Hang on a minute. We're not doing this now, but I just want to skip to the end. Screen 2. Oh, now I've got to add. Will that come up here? Are we still?
Hello, SimSeeker TV. Thanks for the hosting.
This is.
And Tom Cruise.
Those bits were boring.
Fake David Beckham didn't know how to start a Lamborghini. The real David Beckham would never make such a rookie blunder.
This guy says.
And immediately.
So we're in a Lamborghini store.
Is that
Dave
Prince
had gone
William?
off to get the key.
No. It's Harry.
He loved the Beckhams so much, he was going to let us drive the $300,000 car out of
This
the
is actually a
showroom
really good
right
show.
there and then, no questions asked.
Whoa, Richard 1719Z.
What are you doing?
Thank you. Whoa, that gets a pause. That gets a hold. Yo, horses, 30 subs.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you. That is brilliant. Richard, that is very, very kind. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very kind. That feeds our kids. It means both my kids can eat this weekend, not just my favourite one. Thank you very much indeed. Here we go.
Suck this guy in, and I reckon we can get this car out on the road. So
that was what
keep
we were
going. You're
trying to
doing
do.
brilliantly, by the way. Yeah. Oh, I think you're doing fantastically. He's bought it totally. David, let's have a listen. My love, don't drive it while we're in here. That's all I'm saying.
It was all going so brilliantly. We were seconds away from test driving a stupidly expensive car when disaster struck. Fake David Beckham didn't know how to start a Lamborghini. The real David Beckham would never make such a rookie blunder. And immediately, our cover was blown.
Okay. Come on, David, get out of the car. Good lad. Come on, Victoria.
Muppets.
Interested in buying some of David.
Look at me, I'm
and
in LA.
Victoria's work.
Look
I'm
at
in
that.
LA.
Look at that happening.
Let me driving. Oh, I do a really funny link. I should do a really funny link in the sea. I met David Hasselhoff's ex-wife here.
Sex wife?
Yeah, sure, why not? Look, we got papped. Look, we get papped.
Success at last!
That was
my
all real.
super fake entourage were just what I needed to make LA love me and my Beckham lookalikes.
All real.
Find out in part 3 what happens when we storm hot celeb eatery, the Ivy.
Just want to get some food. Thank you. Thank you. We just want to get some lunch, that's all.
And we run the gauntlet of Hollywood's hardest
That's where I
bouncers
told
to
us to
see if
sober
we
up.
can jump the queue at the coolest club in Celebville.
Where is was it this one or the other one where we had the Tom Cruise lookalike?
And now someone's stolen our sodding car.
Our limousine.
Limousine.
Hold that.
It's a crystal. It's LA, isn't it?
She was a real woman who just walked up. I was trying to find. Oh look, that's us on near the Hollywood side. Isn't it weird? That was my life for a while. Was doing stuff like that. Maybe it wasn't this one. Maybe it was the other one. I did a funny link in the beach. It was Ross King.
Yeah, before he had new teeth.
What was the car thing? There was another stunt we did. Maybe it wasn't. Oh, there it is. There it is. I do a funny link. I do a funny link. And then look at the Tom Cruise lookalike. And yeah, I met David Hasselhoff's ex-wife.
Victoria, but football as well. And for this, I was bringing out the big guns. Celebrity best mate
Tom Cruise. Look how tall he is. He's good though, but he's
fake
tall. That's Katie Holmes.
I mean, okay.
Anyway.
I've come to Venice Beach dressed like a dick. I'm going to get a game of football going and see if we can get the locals to join in. Look at those guys, they're beautiful. Except him. He's too tall.
He is.
Fellas, you fancy a kick around? Okay, you know he's a big superstar. You're a big fat fella. No disrespect, but that's some what's next pudding, I think.
Oh, mate.
Don't tackle him because I don't want to go down, but feel free to join in. Come on, a little bit of soccer with David Beckham and Tom Cruise. Come on. Do you fancy having a little kick around with David Beckham, soccer superstar? Come here, don't run.
I need my skate.
We're playing soccer. Come on, play soccer with David Beckham, soccer superstar. Got a soccer game, don't we?
My plan to get the Americans in.
I mean, that bum is famished.
Interested in soccer and the Beckhams wasn't proving as successful as I'd hoped.
These guys are crazy. My new best friends. I want to move to this country. Yeah, I love it. I think they got knives, though. All we've got is 2 kids. No dedication in America. That's the problem. So they lost Vietnam. Okay, it's a little bit hard to get people to play football at the moment. I don't quite know why. Are they scared of soccer? Or are they scared of me looking like a twat? Mainly people are scared of the creepy, really tall, gigantic Tom Cruise that's terrifying everybody. I don't know. We're getting a lot of people watching. No one's prepared to join in.
And one more.
Our own, without distraction, in a Beverly Hills boutique. Another must-have accessory for any A-lister is an entourage. So I enlisted the services of a bunch of...
What's going on here?
For nothing.
Come on, entourage. Come on, Beckham.
Oh, this is great. This is
and
great.
let's see.
Oh no, she was part of the
David,
entourage.
Victoria,
Okay, right.
in you come. Hello there. We'll have David and Victoria to have a look around. We've got the entourage as well, but don't worry, they're all house trained. They won't be crapping on the floor. Thanks very much.
The boutique was buying my lookalikes and
Watch what we
entourage
get
so
away with
far. It was time for a few starry demands.
Is there any chance we could get the music off? It affects David's chi. Thank you. You know what these celebrities are like? Just kind of, thanks very much. Thank you.
That went down well. Let's try and close the shop.
Oh, you're supposed to be
Can everyone just back away from them slightly, please? Thank you. Sorry, David. I was just trying to keep your space, and it's just not happening. Sorry, is there... You see that there's... I mean, this is their own entourage, and they get close, and it gets uncomfortable. Is there any chance we could close the store for 20 minutes? Sure. Would that be okay? Fantastic, thank you.
God, I'm nervous even watching
Sorry,
this.
ladies.
Oh.
Just for 20 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. It's much appreciated. By the way, I'm Ian, their PA.
Yolanda, nice to meet
Yolanda,
you.
what a fantastic name.
Thank you.
My mother was called Yolanda. We don't come out shopping in the daytime very often for obvious reasons. What time do you...
Can I just say, Nico or Milana?
Yeah.
Nico. Huh? Come on, man. Credit where it's due, buddy.
Shut in the evening?
7.
7. Supposing we did what I like to call a midnight run, where we go shopping at midnight, would that be possible to arrange something
I'm sure.
along those lines?
Of course.
Are you a fan of the Beckhams?
Of course, I've helped Victoria twice, yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. Wow, look at these! Seriously, man, what? These are just incredible. Black pearls? These are just... David, Victoria, you seen these? Black pearls. David, Victoria, we're getting the black pearl.
Oh, she gives them to us.
Black pearls.
I might be being homophobic here. Hang on.
What do you think, gay best friend?
Oh, that was a gay best friend who...
Love,
right,
love,
okay.
love. I knew you'd find something in here. Brilliant.
Which?
Groundbreaking.
Yes. Which would you go for as a gay man?
Any man.
You go for
There's
any
nothing
man?
like a pearl necklace, is there?
Nothing. I think we should put that on.
Oh my God! Time for the big one.
We're planning on going to some of the exclusive LA clubs this evening. What could we have for free?
Whatever you guys want.
Don't tempt me.
Maybe the black pearls.
Let's take the black pearls. We'll wear them tonight. They'll be on all of the American TV stations this evening. Let's take the black pearls if we can then. Fantastic. Have you got a key for the cabinet?
Flipping it.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
So all those people are our fake entourage.
David, Victoria, we're getting the black pearls.
I was
and we're out of
loving
here.
it at this point.
How much is that one if we were to pay for it?
12.
12,900. We'll take those ones. Fantastic. Lovely. Okay. Well, listen. That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Let's go. Thank you.
You can box them up for you.
We got $13,000 worth of black pearls. Fantastic.
Isn't it nuts? And then Paps turned up.
The shop would have phoned him.
Then we met someone who was polyamorous.
It's worked better than I thought it would. We're in the shop. They totally believe it's David and Victoria. And Victoria was in that shop only 2 weeks ago, so they've seen her recently. They know what she looks like. They gave us, for free, a $13,000 necklace. Superb. Even better than that, we come out of the shop and there's about half a dozen paparazzi all out in the road, just clicking away, taking pictures of their big lenses, their small cameras, video cameras, just filming them. We let them take a few pictures. I tried to get into as many as I could, as did the gay best friend. I'm suspicious. And the paparazzi are tripping over themselves. A guy fell over and another guy trod on him. And as soon as they're in the car, they've all buggered off. They've run off to the newspapers and to the internet to try and sell these photos. This is fantastic proof.
Isn't it nuts? Sorry, I got a little bit carried away there.
No, you didn't. That was great.
Oh, I got excited watching that. Nico, dude, come on, man. Credit where it's due. I invented you. I invented you. Peek behind the curtain. What we did with the necklace, as far as I remember, we got around the corner. We got out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
We got someone to go in and get them to sign the release forms. This is how I remember it. And then we went back and said, or maybe we did the release forms afterwards. We got out of sight. Remember, we had to get out of sight from them for it to work. And then the producer would go back. I hated doing it. I refused to do it. We'd go back and go, guys, you have been absolutely marvellous. Thank you so much. Allow me, this is not the real David, and you know.
Wow.
But absolutely real, absolutely genuine, not set up one bit.
Well, it's in there. The Beckhams at one point, and maybe still to a certain extent, but Beckhams at one point were like Kim Kardashian. They wear your stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. You're made.
Sorry, I was going to find the name of the daughter. Sorry, that was the important thing. Then we tried one with the Prince William and Prince Harry, but the lookalikes were terrible.
Oh.
What am I typing in? Beckhams. And then the plan was to go to Japan with the Beckhams, and it never happened. Let's just go to the end.
This part of it.
I want to see the credits. There's no credits on here, of course. Look, there's no credits on here.
Will it be on IMDb?
Yeah. We met someone who was polyamorous. She was in it, I'm sure. Anyway, she was the daughter of a famous author, and he apparently wasn't very nice to her.
In the Meet the Beckhams.
We'll watch that. We'll do the whole thing at some point. I've not seen that since that went out, and actually, that's Delilah Seal. Okay, Delilah Seal was her name. Who is her dad? Maybe it was her stepdad. Delilah Seal. Delilah Seal. Martin Amis.
All right.
Martin Amis. There she is. There she is. We kind of fell out over the Beckhams, over the William and Harry one, because it just wasn't working and it was awful. And we had a big row where I was in the desert and it was 104 degrees and I was in that suit and my shoes were melting and I had to keep doing the same shot, and I did get a bit pissed off, and then we had a big row because it was no one believed they were the William and Harry. It was awful. Anyway. Yeah, so she's Martin Amis's daughter.
Stepdaughter, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Blimey.
What a world. That used to be my life, doing stuff like that. Isn't it? It's a funny old world. It's a funny old world. I will, at some point, we will have... I'll do some watch-throughs, probably on my own, because it's a little bit SI. Of some of those things. I want to watch some of those things. But that was a good one. That was a good... And that's the thing that... Right, this is where I get bitter, right? This is where I get gaunted, right? Is because that was good, right? It was on Sky. No one really watched it. It did quite well for Sky. That's why they made a second one. The second one did terribly. That's why they didn't do a third. Or there was even talk of a series.
But it does hinge on having a really good lookalike. You can't just get...
But no one remembers that I did that stuff. I love Nico. I've been watching a lot of Nico because my youngest is really into him. We watched the fake, where he sets up a fake McDonald's and where he's got the microphone at the McDonald's drive-through, and it's hilarious. I was doing that. I was doing that, and no one remembers that I did that. What are you going to do?
Showbiz, isn't it?
It's showbiz, baby. Let's open the phone lines. Let's take some calls. Oh, we missed Nigel from Maidstone. Literally just then. That means he will now...
He will not be anywhere near his phone anymore.
Yeah.
Come on, Nigel.
Weren't Dick and Dom nice? I want to be friends with them.
I think you nearly are.
If I had to have a fight with them... Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello, Nigel.
Hello, Catherine. I just went for a pee, and I missed you. I'm sorry. I just got back to the phone in time.
Good. I'm glad. It's nice to hear your voice. Gave us a ring, didn't you?
I gave you a ring, but I didn't expect you to call me back straight away. That's why I went into the toilet. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Whoa.
I'm peeing now.
Good. I'm glad you've been.
Can you hear me clearly?
Beautifully, yeah.
Are you both on the show?
Ian?
Is Ian with you?
Yes. He's here. He's listening.
Oh, hello, Ian.
Ian, speak.
If I've got that thing or not, but I'm ever so tired all of a sudden, and I keep falling asleep when I sit down.
Well, it's 10:30.
I thought, no. It's been going on for a few days now. Like this, where I'm getting so tired. Just can't get enough sleep. Even when I've been to sleep, I feel that I want to go back to sleep again, and that's during the daytime.
Blimey.
Do you think it's anything to do with that virus?
Nah, I think everyone's having funny sleep patterns at the moment, Nigel. I think it's just to do with...
Because I tend to wake up at night time when I want to sleep. I can't.
Yeah.
And then during the evenings, I feel tired. You know.
Are you worrying about? Do you think you're worrying about things? Are you fretting?
I'm Well, I'm worried about the whole world. Of course, the news isn't good, is it? With the fires, the bushfires,
Yeah.
and that's all worrying. And you know, you tend to think the world might be coming to an end and things like that, don't you?
Well, I know it's easy to get that way. Can I make a suggestion? Stop listening to the news. Bushfires aren't going to get you.
I haven't had the news on.
Right. Well, I was going to say there's very limited amount you can do about it, but it's very unlikely that you're going to get this because you're going to stay safe, stay away from people, wash your hands, do all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
You don't think I've got the virus then?
I think you'd know about it.
Yeah, so just feeling tired isn't anything to do with having the virus.
No.
Just feeling tired.
I don't think you got the virus, Nigel. So try and let that one go. How Wee Claire? Give a big shout out for Wee Claire. Nigel, say hello to our friend Wee Claire, please.
Hello, Claire.
There we go. Nigel, would you?
Well, hello, Wee Claire.
There we go. Do you feel up to singing a song for us?
Yes, I'll do one. I've only just woken up. I'm watching what I'm dozing off and watching the film at the same time. So I'm not really asleep properly.
I love I can't do it so much. I love dozing and watching the movies. The best.
You get freaky dreams.
You can hear it in your sleep.
Yeah, and I've given up. I don't say film anymore. I say movie. I've given up, and I say season.
Yeah.
I gave up.
Although our kids found it hilarious the other day when we went to the pictures.
We went to the pictures. Yeah. What are you calling it pictures for? Give us a song, Nigel. I don't think Claire's heard you sing before, and it'll be nice to indoctrinate her.
I don't think I could sit through a movie for 2 hours without falling asleep.
Oh, God. Okay. Anyway, do you want to sing a song? Otherwise, I'm going to play a video of me singing I'm a Believer.
Yes, I'll do your song. I haven't done one for ages. Because it's on the 3rd of September, which is only just gone, isn't it? So when was the 1st?
Oh, it was last week. I think it's about the 11th or the 12th today.
11th.
Oh, I was going to do a
Oh, it's
song
the 11th,
about my dad passing, so I can do it now, can't I?
Yes, you can. Let's have a song.
Dad.
Well, you say a song about your dad passing.
No, for my dad passing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's different. Okay.
I can only...
Away we go. Yes, we can, Nigel. Let's do it. Let's get on with it. Here we go.
I do a short version of I Miss You, that one.
Lovely.
Okay. I miss you, I miss your smile, that I may shed a tear every once in a while. Even though it's different now, you're still here somehow. No, I won't let you go. Yes, I need you to know. I miss you, sha-la-la. I miss you. I miss you, I miss your smile, and I may shed a tear every once in a while. Even though it's different now, you're still here somehow. No, I won't let you go. Yes, I need you to know. I miss you, cha-la-la. I miss you, oh yeah.
Yes, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nigel.
Oh, thanks, Nigel.
I'll see you later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. He does sing that one a lot, doesn't he?
I'm aware it's me playing clips of me, but can I play another clip of me?
It's all about you.
But, if you'd have had a television career as successful...
I've got a video in my boot if you want to see me talking about a donkey.
Watch this. This was on. We were talking about this yesterday. That crappy show on. I'm gonna take.
Take us home.
Look at this. This is rubbish. It really pissed me off. They did this version. They do the Vic and Bob version.
Of course.
EMF. Was it EMF? Who did it?
Wonder Stuff.
No.
It wasn't, was it?
Was it EMF? Yeah, it was. Remember what a dry, dead atmosphere it was in that studio.
There was an air of tension about that I would not have at my game nights.
Crowd goes mild. It wasn't even that excited. It wasn't the Wonder Stuff. I do some wicked stunts, I seem to remember.
Oh, I just remember I liked Frankie's trousers.
Yeah.
Swashy.
Get out of the way. We'll get. There we go. That's me basically looking and sounding like my dad. Oh, man alive.
Aww.
I miss you. I killed it, Sinjin. I killed that series.
Well,
It's a lousy
they had a little
show.
shuffle around of personnel and now they're back.
Oh, watching that Beckhams thing has made me realise I miss TV.
Oh, stop it.
Shut your face, you.
They bloody don't. They treat you like crap and it's generally run by a-holes.
Say hello to this caller, please.
Hello.
Oh, hello. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It's very good to speak to you.
What's your name?
My name is Christopher,
Hello, Christopher.
and today I've been listening to you two for many a while, and today was the day that I said I was going to call you for the first time because something significant happened. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
What can we do for you, Christopher? What's going on? What caused you to pick up the phone?
So, I mean, it's a bit of a clunky gear change because I know you've been watching nice videos and stuff like that. But today was the day that I found out that the police are no longer going to continue the investigation into the sexual abuse that I suffered as a kid. And I decided that whenever I found out which way that was going to go, I was going to call you guys to, I don't know, really, just talk about it and chat with people that I felt were, you know, would just be a nice ear, really, to talk about it.
How are you feeling? Or don't you know yet?
I am still figuring it out. In the moment when they phoned me, I was not surprised. But in the last time I went to a therapy session, I was saying to my therapist that I had kind of accepted that I think I was going to be angry when it came about. And I think I probably am going to be angry, and I think I'm going to be ill for a little while. So I've like already prepared my family for that in a way. My wife sort of knew that. Yeah, I just sort of said to her, "Hey, do you know what? I think when this, I've spent ages. Everybody does this horrible thing. Like even my therapist and like everybody's always just asking you, how do you think you'll feel when it goes one way or the other? And it's like it's really not helpful because you just don't know until it happens. So all you're doing is hypothesizing over something that you don't know the emotion until you have the real decision in front of you. And so I tried to avoid thinking about it, and then now it's happened, I have to think about it, and I can't stop thinking about it."
Can I ask why they decided to stop investigating it? And you reveal as much or as little as you're prepared to. And I have to say this, and I hate saying this, but obviously no names and stuff. I'm really sorry that I have to say that.
No.
But you know, tell us as much or as little as you want. But why did they give you a reason for stopping the investigation?
Yeah, it's basically there's just not going to ever be enough evidence. It's just his word against mine. You know, this happened like 20 years ago, and I only started to talk about it just over a year ago. That was when I first told my wife what had happened to me. Like, we've been dealing with my depression and panic attacks for a bit longer than that, but I just sort of had this breakthrough moment where I was like, oh, do you know what? I think it was probably connected to all of that. And then I ended up on this really, I've been like, trying to say that like my journey through it all has been, I just kind of go with the flow. I've not got any agenda. I didn't want to take him down or anything like that. It was just always about, the only objective was me getting better and me learning to accept it and being able to be around my family and other people and not feel anxious and all of this. And so I just ended up in this, it's probably for another time, but I ended up in this ridiculous situation where I was not forced, but the police ended up knowing about it because of a testimonial I gave somewhere. And it was like, well, it's up to you if you want to take it further or not. And my interest was in whether or not I'd done it to anybody else. We've got like friends in common and stuff like that. And he was still in my life in a way. And so I kind of was holding out hope. I felt my motivation was that maybe I was going to be the touch paper that would maybe unleash other people coming forward, or that might connect other dots to a larger thing that was happening in my hometown or something like that. And it's just like notch after notch has been, no, that's not the case. It feels like it was pretty much, I was just this very unique or idiosyncratic opportunity for the person to do what they did to me. And as a result, there's, there's just no evidence. There's no, people can say things like, oh yeah, no, we did know that they were friends and stuff like that, but it's my word against his. And the worst thing about it all is that it was only because of the police involvement, like as part of their investigation, they brought him in to question him about it and stuff. So now it's this thing where it's like he knows, and all right, he's gone through all that rigmarole and stuff, and I'm certain it stressed him out. But now it's that thing where it's like, that's one of the things I've not been able to shake today. It's probably this idea that he's walking around with a pep in his step, thinking like, it was boys being boys. I told him it was consensual, and it's like, how was a 10-year-old know what consensual means? You know what I mean?
May I ask? And I don't want to, how old was he? If you were 10,
he was like 3 or 4 months older.
Right. Okay. And you sound like you have been doing the work with a therapist and perhaps even with your wife, which is amazing. So you're this might sound really patronising, and I'm trying not to.
No, don't worry,
but
man. Don't worry.
It sounds like you know that this is not your fault and that it was abuse. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
You've accepted that. Good. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
I was worried. The point. I was hoping that this hadn't put some kind of doubt in your head, but you know that you know all that. Good. All right.
Yeah.
That's shit. I mean, that's that's shit. That's terrible.
It's like it's really weird. Like the officers that were talking to me and did the investigation, they're nice as pie, and they've always been really upfront with me and said, they believe me. And I think it is one of those things where, I mean, obviously there's this culture these days now, which is like, it's the right thing to do is to believe victims, to work on this assumption of like, why would I, as a victim, out of the blue, just come and make this up? And the guy who interviewed me, when we spoke on the phone a couple of weeks after it, he said to me, like, having sat in a room with you for 2 hours and had you recount everything that you went through, there is no doubt in my mind that something happened to you, and that I have no reason to believe that you aren't telling us as much of the truth as you can, or like everything that you happened and how you saw it from your perspective. And so even though that's the case, and even though I know that the officers that looked into it, and worked in that department and stuff, and they're very quick to, distance themselves from it in the sense of like, it wasn't their decision, it was like their supervisor's decision.
Yeah.
Like not even to pass it on to the CPS to like look at and think if they would take it forward. And it suddenly just feels a bit like, well, it's all well and good you saying you believe me, but, what effing good is that if you're not going to, I don't know, like fight my corner, I guess. Yeah. It just feels like a huge waste of my time.
Yeah, and I get the frustration, especially when you think it's just one bloke who you've not spoken to making the decision from on high. I get it, man.
What would you, and maybe you don't have an answer to this, but why did you go to the police? Did you have an idea of how you wanted this to end up?
No. So basically, Have you guys heard of the Truth Project? Do you
Yes.
know what that is? Yeah. So it was so weird. Last Christmas, I honestly felt like, because I was watching some snooker, and I saw this advert twice in a row, and you just have one of those moments where it's like the proof of marketing working. I was like, this advert is for me, and the wording of it was all like, if you've been through child sexual abuse and want to share your story, I think it can help, contact the Truth Project. And I was like, I have to go through this process of sharing and stuff, and I thought, for me, it's one of those things where I'm quite cold to it now. Like, I could happily talk in very minute detail about the graphic things that happened and it not affect me. Like, talking about the physical things, I'm obviously not going to do that. But, like, when I don't know, you just get to a point where there's just like an emotional dissonance to it. And so I contacted the Truth Project and told them my story. And they were like the first people, I think, I'd already been using the word abuse. But they were the first people to say something along, they made it clear that, like, if it's an independent study, if you told them a certain amount of information, they would have an obligation to contact the police to say, this is about a person who maybe is still a threat to the wider community. And I gave them enough information because I was a bit like, it's not, look, I'm not the criminal here. I've got nothing to lose. I knew that I purposely at the time dropped in enough information about who he was and what he did that it would lead to the police. And that was just out of curiosity, because I felt like it was that sort of thing. And anyway, so they said, oh yeah, we've got an obligation to pass on to the police. And then the police, as a result of that, contacted me. And it was like, they then put it in my hands to say, so my only motivation, as I said a couple of minutes ago, was it was just about, did he do it to anybody else? We lived in a really weird sort of, parish, because it's all connected to church sort of thing, where I'm aware of 2 or 3 other slightly different incidences that have happened over the years that are of a similar ilk. I'm not saying it's connected to the church at all, but it's just one of those things, when you just think, well, is this just three massive coincidences, or could it be that they're all linked? And I just felt this sense of and basically, when impressing that to the police, there was a thing of well, for us to look into any of that, it has to start with you putting a complaint forward. And I wrestled with that for months, because they also made it quite clear to me that if what I've said is true, which it was, but if what I've said is true and he's found guilty, it is a crime. And, they laid it on, not quite thick, but they were upfront about it. It was like, you'll ruin his life. Like, he'll never work in his job again. He'll lose his family, etc., etc. And that was a huge thing for me. I spent so long trying to overcome, and having so many different people rightly and lovingly say to me, why are you wrestling with this because of how it's going to affect him? Like, do whatever you think is right. And so I just did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. And then piece by piece, as all these different elements have fallen over, not in the direction I thought, one of his exes, hasn't intimated that anything happened. It doesn't seem like there's any connection to other people. Because it's just, my wife phrased it really, really well at one point, because she said, when he was interviewed, the fact that one of the most emotional responses I had, sorry, I'm a bit rambling.
No, you carry on.
One of the most emotional responses I had about it all was when they interviewed him, the fact that he didn't offer anything up. The fact that he didn't say, yeah, I did that, but it's because such and such did it to me before.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and my wife was like, you wanted him to say that because you wanted to excuse it. You didn't want it to just be that he is a monster. And, that he just did it to you because he's a horrible narcissist, all these different things, manipulative, etc. That had this power and control over you. And him not offering that up, because that's what I would do in his situation. I felt like if there's a truth out there that thing happened, but he's weighed up all those pros and cons, and he has a solicitor with him, and for whatever, I'm not eliminating the possibility that something's happened to him beforehand, but he's just felt, if I can get away with it in the first instance without them ever even looking into it, if I can just say it's boys being boys. And so even from a position of having no motivation whatsoever, there is just this part of me now that feels a bit like, you know what, maybe I do want to take him down a bit. Like he's done a bad thing and he's got a better life than me. But like in certain very fickle ways, money and all that.
Mm.
Well, he's not carrying the weight of this because he's just gone with his life.
Your wife sounds incredible.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
She does. She sounds incredible. This may surprise you. Not every partner who is told about sexual abuse that happened at a young age. Not every partner is interested or is supportive. So. She sounds, she sounds incredible, and I imagine that must have been hard for her as well to know that the person she loves the most in the world has had something so horrendous happen to them.
No, it was really weird as well, because she has been, and like when I'm in my lower moments.
Oh no!
Get him back.
Christopher!
I could see that the call was a little bit unstable, but Christopher.
Welcome to the EE voicemail. I'm sorry, but
Imagine if his car crashed.
No,
imagine if his battery's dead and we can't get him back.
I think the signal was a little bit ropey.
Hello.
Oh God, we were
What a moment.
Worried that your phone had died and that was it. God.
No. I don't actually know what happened there. I've not moved the car for.
Welcome back. Go on. You were telling us about when you were really low.
Oh yeah, no. So I've when I get really low, I'll say things to her like that. Like I've been unfair to her because we've nearly been married 10 years now, and so it's like, but she met me 13 odd years ago or whatever it was, and she didn't know anything about this, and then she fell in love with me. We fell in love with each other, and she married a guy that was completely different to the person I am now, and then we moved back close to my hometown like 5 or 6 years ago, and that's when it all started bubbling up. And then all of a sudden I dropped this on her, and obviously she turned around and said those amazing sort of things regarding, are of course true, like, for better or worse, and I'm here for whatever you need. But, it's like, I say things to her like, but if I told you this when we first met, maybe you wouldn't have married me. And so, like, I kind of robbed you of the right to make that decision for yourself. It's all well and good me telling you when we've been married for 9 years, because you've got 9 years and 2 kids worth of experience with me that are at stake if you, as you say, like, well, not rightfully, but you can't judge everybody for the way they would react when I tell them what I went through.
But that's not how life works,
No.
is it? You don't. When you meet a partner, I don't even know. Maybe you didn't. When I say maybe you didn't even remember it when you met her, I don't want to downplay it, but maybe I'm guessing it wasn't at the forefront of your mind. It was, you kind of pushed it back a bit, and you fall in love, and you're going out clubbing, and you're doing whatever you do. And when we meet someone, we don't tell them. By the way, when I was 10, this happened, and then when I was 15, I did this, and at 16, I told my mum to F off. We don't do that, do we?
How you survived is how you survived, right? And so I don't know how you coped with it, whether it was something that you carried around with you, or whether, as you say, it was kind of going back to your hometown that brought it all back, or you were confronted with a familiarity of it and all that sort of stuff. But
it's definitely that. Yeah, it's definitely that.
But the fact is that you survived the only way you could because you were a kid. And and I'm sure your wife gets that, and I'm also sure that she knew something was up, and she's probably just grateful that you finally told her, so she could help you with it.
Well, well, it was funny because, like, as I say, I've been having the increase in panic attacks, and like I have suicidal thoughts and stuff like that from time to time, and it the worst it ever was one day where I had like a straw that broke the camel's back moment, and I ended up I was meeting at work, and I was really, really angry about various different things that I'd annoyed myself about during the day. And as soon as I saw her, I thought I walked to meet her at the car park, and what I thought I was going to do, and I had every intention of doing this, I've been white knuckling a bottle the whole time I was walking to the car park. I thought I was going to put my fist through the car window. And as soon as I saw her, instead what happened was my legs turned to jelly, I couldn't breathe, and I just started crying, and I was paralytic for half an hour. She managed to get me in the car. She left work early. We drove home. And as we were driving home, I told her this was the closest I'd ever come to taking my own life. Like, I felt a glimpse. I felt a brief moment where I nearly just jumped into the traffic.
Yeah.
And as macabre as this sounds, the only reason I didn't do it was because it was a Mercedes convertible, and I thought, that's not even going to kill you, it's just going to break your legs, and that's just going to make it even worse. And so so with that event and various different things, and that was what got me started talking to doctors and going having medication and all this. And so from that point on, you know, we had this acknowledgement between us that I'm unwell and that I need help and I need to talk to people and whatnot. But it absolutely was like, it took 2 years for me to then connect that dot of, and I remember what I was like, I'm a builder, and I was doing a certain job on this particular project, and as I was doing it, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, I was probably listening to you guys, if I'm honest, and I just had this moment in my head where I connected the dots and went, oh, it'll be that, and then I fantasized about what it was going to be like if I told my wife, and I knew she'd react supportively, and it was almost as if I'd never thought about connecting even those stars as well, connecting that thing of like, oh, well, you know that is the reason that you're like this. What if you told her? And I just suddenly like, she'll be amazing. She will handle it with aplomb. And so I told her that night. And then we just sort of gone from there. But it was the last possible thing she thought I was going to say. Because in her head, as with everybody else, or not everybody else, but so many people I've told, like, they'll say, you are the last person we would have ever thought would have been through something like that because you've worn the mask so well. And
yeah.
I don't know if you're the same, Ian, but it's like, it's not the compliment that you want to hear when people are like, I wouldn't have had a clue. And it's like, yeah, please don't be telling me that I'm an amazing actor. Like, that's not what I want to hear.
You're saying you found out today that the police weren't going to take it any further?
Yeah, that's right.
I was going to say, what do you do now? But I guess it's too soon to answer that question, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been talking about it as like a metaphor of, I've been at a fork in the road since the police thing got started, of like, well, if it goes down that route and there's a prosecution takes place, or maybe it goes to court and all of this, well, obviously that will then dominate your time. So there's no point in thinking about what else you could do about this, because, like, I don't know what potential doors I can open for myself, but I am eager to use the experiences of what happened to me to help others if I can. You know, whether that's through group therapy or telling my story or whatever it is. But I always sort of thought, well, don't try and do that. Don't take on too much. Don't even try and look into that stuff or do that stuff whilst there's the potential that this was on the cards.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've not really looked into any of it. And the metaphor we used today was like, okay, you've been sat stationary at this fork in the road for what has essentially amounted to 6 months, because it was flipping March when the police first got in touch. And it takes I'm not bothered, because it's not, I often say this phrase of like, look, I've been living with this for 20 years, what's another 2 months? Like, I'm not bothered when there's a delay, but part of you just can't believe the hoops they have to jump through, that it's taken this long, you know, and obviously it's just a job to these people go on annual leave, the summer was crazy, COVID, etc., etc. So It is just what it is. But it's like I've been sat at this fork in the road this whole time thinking, well, are we going down that road or not? And today, I basically got told, well, that road is now closed, so you can't even go down that road. And so it's like, right, well, we've got to go down that other one, but we've no idea what's down there. So what do we do? Do we just wait here until we know what's down there? Do we just go down there with our eyes closed and see what happens? Because that's the only road we can go down, because for some reason we can't even, the car's not got reverse gear or something like that. Like I've rung so many bells I can't unring talking about this stuff. And
First things first, are you safe tonight?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Good.
100%.
Good.
I came out because I didn't want to, like, she was in the bath, and I said, I'm going to go out for a drive. I said I was going to phone my mate. Sorry, I lied to her a bit there. And I've come for a bit of a drive around where I live now, and I went and got a brew, put some petrol in the car. I'm going to go home after this, and I'm going to go home after this proud that I did what I promised myself I was going to do as well, which was, give you guys a call. I mean, when the radio show ended, there was a part of me that was like, bloody hell, and obviously at the time didn't know this was coming up. So I was really happy when you both started this show. I only listened to the podcast though, so I'm 2 days behind.
I have a question about that in a second. It doesn't... the police saying they're not going to take it any further doesn't diminish your experience and doesn't in any way lessen the knowledge of what you and your wife and your therapist and other people close to you may have told. It doesn't diminish the fact that those people, me and Catherine, know that you went through that and know that was horrific. I'm struggling to get this across, but what happened to you is still real and is still valid and is still part of what makes you. And I know it's a shitty part of what makes you, but it's what makes you. And there are people, including us, who know that and believe that and respect you for surviving. And I use the term surviving. I know it's not particularly, but surviving life. You managed to make it this far despite the horrendous things that happened to you. The police saying they're not going to take it further doesn't in any way change that. Does that make sense?
No, it totally does. I think, and I do, 9 times out of 10, I tend to think in that way. Like I tend to think in terms of like, I don't really care what his perspective on it is. Whether he genuinely does think it was boys being boys or consensual or any of that stuff. Like, it was a bit like, because I sort of think about my sexuality in the same way as you do, Ian, where it's like, well, for me, I never got the space to define my own sexuality because what happened to me was happening at the point where, as a normal kid, you would be figuring it out for yourself, and instead it wasn't. So, like, everything is imbibed with what he did.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the other things about, like, one of the things that I talk about in therapy a lot is that actually, to some extent, like she'll say, what if he I don't want an apology. I don't want anything like that. But I talk about like wanting just an acknowledgement. Along the lines of like him saying, like even if he was going to be as stubborn enough as to say, look, I genuinely never knew that what we were doing, this is bullshit, obviously, as well, Susan. But like, if it was like, I genuinely didn't know that what we were doing was something that you were not okay with. But I can appreciate why you might think that. Yeah, it is what it is. But also, I can appreciate that. Well, that's the thing, though, because he did say to them, no, me and him did do stuff.
Oh, he acknowledged that.
It was always, yeah. Which is actually, in a way, a bit suckier, because it's like, I don't see how, like, I mean, it didn't take long for me when I was trying to recall everything and connect all these dots. Like, I did have a moment. I've struggled it forever, where I've always, in my head, thought, you can't talk to people about this because it will just be passed off as boys being boys. But then I would sit there and I think, no, do you know what? You never once instigated any of it. You never asked for any of it. There was never any conversation before. It was literally sometimes like we wouldn't even speak. We'd just be sent upstairs by our parents or whatever to play, and he'd just I don't want to say pounce, but he'd just command what we did, or we'd be on a bike ride and he'd just divert me to a space or whatever it was. He never told me that he liked me. He never told me that we were boyfriend and boyfriend. So that doesn't sound consensual to me. And he knows all of that. Like, if he'd have done it all and then turned around at some point and said, do you know what, man, I really fancy you. Like, maybe that would have been different. But none of that definitely happened. And I would, put my life to that.
It sounds like, and I can completely understand it, you're looking for a reason. You're looking for some way of unpicking what happened, with him acknowledging that what happened wasn't right, and wasn't, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like the reason, even if the reason is just, I was a bit of a dick back then, or something. Do you know what I mean?
Or that
like,
he misunderstood,
I
or whatever it might. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Or it overcame me, and I just got, it was one of those things. It was a slippery slope situation where after we, because it literally as well, honestly, it's almost like parody how archetypal everything was. It all literally began as a game of doctors where he just went too far. And then 6 years later to what it's like, it had become, there is it's not a justification whatsoever, but the way it evolved, it was just a bloke. He was just testing boundaries each and every time. And I was basically just his puppet.
My abuse was not anywhere as intimate as yours sounds like it was. And the guy that did it to me was significantly older and he's dead now. And there is, I often fantasize about going up to him and going, what the fuck? What was that? What were you thinking?
Yeah.
What was that? And I would imagine that you have fantasized about confronting him. Is that something that could happen in reality? Do you think, or is that at the moment a definite no? No.
Well, the only reason it's a no, and one of my best friends said this to me when I was talking to him about it, because I used to say, when I was like wrestling with, do I go to the police or not? I would like ask the question. I said, what is it I think can be gained from asking the police to look into it rather than me just doing it myself? Like me having the balls to just go up to him and say, listen, back then, what was that? And it was my mate who I think quite objectively and quite fairly made the point, when you consider everything that he did to me over all those years, what possible reason could there be for you to believe a single word that would come out of his mouth afterwards? This idea that, like, why is he going to tell you the truth now all of a sudden? Or like, how can you believe? And I absolutely do think this is the case as well. Like, I don't even know what I think about him. Like, he still has that power over me. I know he does. Like,
something really funny's happening, Christopher. I'm getting really angry while you're saying this. And this is obviously to do with what happened with me and is in no way a reflection of you. But I can hear you saying this and I'm getting really angry. And I'm trying to work out, I'm getting furious. Again, not with what you're saying. It is entirely me reacting to my story. And I'm trying to work out why. And the thing that seems to be coming to me is all of the shame that you have felt. I don't know if you still feel it. I don't know where you are in terms of therapy and stuff. But all of the shame that you have felt and all of the self-loathing that you have felt and self-hatred and suicidal thoughts, they're not yours. They're his. That's his shame that you have been carrying around for however many years since it happened. And I'm sure your therapist has talked to you about this, that the shame isn't yours, that it belongs to him. He somehow passed that on to you. And you're allowed to, in a peaceful way, you're allowed to hand that shame back. Now, and I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just, this is stuff that I've heard from other victims and things. One of the ways that can be to do that is you and your wife write a letter that you never send, and then you go and read it out loud on a hill, and then you burn it. I've heard that actually works. However hippy dippy it sounds, I've heard that works. Another way is, I don't know, but one way is, it sounds like I'm telling you what to do, and I'm so not. I'm just looking at alternatives. One way is you are allowed to contact him. whether that is through Facebook or email or a letter, and you are allowed to put down your feelings and your experience and let him know that. Now, he may choose not to respond. He may choose to respond and go, well, this is bullshit, and you know that's not what happened. He may choose, and it's unlikely, but he may choose to respond going, oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He may not. But whatever he does isn't actually that important. You're allowed to pass that shame back to him. If you ever felt like you wanted to. This is in no way me telling you what to do.
Yeah. That's weird, you know. I think like my viewpoint on it is very much a kind of I never want to see him or think of him again. And the ironic thing to that is that the only thing I think of him 1,000 times a day, obviously, but I mean in a sense of like think about him in oh my God, I'm going to this event and he's going to be there or something like that. You know, like he was a close family friend, so like his parents and my parents still had a really good relationship, and so that was difficult talking to them about it because it was like I think I'm pretty much about to tell you something that means you're going to have to stop talking to these people. And again, obviously the thing with that is that's their problem, not mine. So you know, I was quite quick to relieve myself of that sense of responsibility about that. I kind of just, I think when I ruminate over what would help me, so like I feel like what has essentially been eradicated today is the possibility of him ever really truly acknowledging it. You know, as I said before, like regardless of, because one thing that's in my head is when you talk about like communicating with him, I could do the sort of thing that I'm doing with you now, which is rambling and writing loads and you know, being really, really verbose about it. Or I could do it in like one sentence. I could just write, you know, put a piece of paper through his door that says, you know what you did. Where it's like, you know, the same guy who made that recommendation to me about why would you trust him was also like saying, one way or another, he will have been waiting for this date. He's been on borrowed time for 20 years. And it's whether or not he's ever at any point over all that time contemplated it himself and thought, do you know what I did was actually pretty bad. Yeah. And no, that might not be true though, but
I imagine he will have told himself a lot of stories and explained it to himself in enough of a way that means that he's not culpable. I imagine that's probably how he survived it.
Yeah. I think my personal belief is that him being in that interrogation room, as much as it was, or that interview room, as much as it was, he played it as being like he was shocked, and they said to me that he was quite. They could sense that he was quite. He was struggling as they recounted the details I'd recounted to them. I actually would also say that he'd been preparing for that moment. That he's known how he was going to tackle that, you know, for all that time. And whether or not he's actually told, say, his solicitor the actual truth, and then the solicitors advised him, oh, well, maybe let's go down this route and try this path. And you know, for example, like maybe part of the whole thing of just saying it was consensual, et cetera, is, and not even in that interview acknowledging it in like well, I can understand why you might think it went like that, and I'm sorry if that's the way he feels, is because as soon as you start, I assume that as a guilty person or the accused, as soon as you start apologising, the police's next question is, well, what have you got to apologise for if you didn't do anything?
Yeah.
All of that makes sense to me. But I think, like, I definitely have, my motivation now is to still try and keep getting better, which is just talking and sharing and I'm trying to own every decision I make, if that makes sense. I'm trying to stop doing things that are controlled by my anxiety or my depression or anything like that, my fear. And then the other part is wanting to help people. It's sort of going back in time a little bit to something you were talking about before, but one of the things I said today, which is really horrible, and I didn't say it horribly, but I said it because I said it to my wife, knowing that she could hear it, and it was just kind of like the moment talking. But I was saying how one of the major problems I have right now is when I see her, I think of him, because like whether that's when we're being intimate together, or whether that is when we, when I have when I have an episode, just a low day or something like that, work gets on top of me and I start to get a bit arsey or whatever. And then the fact that since we've been through all this journey now, she is so empathetic and caring towards me, instead of being that kind. Before we knew what was wrong with me, quote unquote, she would always in the past have just been like, oh, in the way that we do, isn't it? Where you're just like, oh, get over it, get over yourself. Well, now you see the gears click in for her, where she's like, I'm going to be supportive and I'm going to let him go through his process and vent or do all these things. Well, me seeing her do those things, it's like that's all a product of my illness, which is a product of what he did to me. And so then I'm thinking of him.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say that like I don't want to be with her. That's not at all the case. But it's like,
but you're still in it.
I don't know. Like, what about the point where what about the point? What if it does get to a stage where it's like, oh my God, like every time I look at my wife, I get triggered of thinking about it.
Well,
so how am I ever going to get away from it?
Here's the thing, honestly. I suspect your marriage will survive this. Honestly, there's a chance it may not. Sometimes these revelations, they can end a marriage. Being completely honest, I suspect they won't. And also, you're both of you are in the middle of this. This isn't over. No. Yeah, the abuse stopped 20 years ago. Yeah, the police have said, we're not going to take it any further. But that's still not the end of it. You're still in the middle of this journey. The J word. You're still in the middle of this. So you're not at your final destination with your wife yet. And I suspect there is quite a lot more work that you need to do separately, both of you, and you need to do together.
I was going to say that
to strengthen. I suspect the end. There is no end. I suspect further down the line, the marriage is going to be fucking incredible. You're going to be locked together with an intimacy and a knowledge of each other that most couples never get. It's just going to be work.
I definitely think. Yeah, I think that too. I think and the relationship we have now is so much more stronger and open and honest than it's ever been, and so there are positives that have come from it. But like the other thing about it is, and like sort of saying all of this with the knowledge that actually this is a good thing, but like as a survivor as well, Iain, do you have this feeling with your kids? I have a fear every time my kids are upstairs playing with their mates and I've not got eyes on them and I don't know exactly what it is. And I when we've been together with other couples and stuff like that, and I am always the parent that I just have to go upstairs and see. We were at a party on the weekend, and my eldest was sitting on the couch with her cousin who's a few years older, and they're just watching TV, and they were sat close to each other. And the thing is, obviously, nothing was happening there. But because of what happened to me, I just have that fear of like, I want to see everybody's fingers and toes right now. I want to know where everybody is, and I want to kind of separate them and sit them from. But I was talking to my wife about this almost as like, am I going to create a moment like that if I let my fear and my past influence the way I interact with those two, and say I separated these two cousins, and then the older one is like, why did Uncle Chris do that? What would he have thought? What would he have thought to do that? And then suddenly you're not going to create
a repetition of history by doing that. You're not.
I know. I'm being possibly purposely obtuse. But
no. But I know. But my fear, if my boys wanted to join the Cubs, I would have severe reservations about it, and luckily they haven't. But they do kind of activities with older men, and I'm a lot more relaxed about it than I thought I would be, but it crosses my mind quite a lot. Not enough.
But do you feel yourself? When you say like it doesn't affect you as much, do you feel yourself doing putting in place little fail-safes, like being that dad who just like hangs around a bit longer, or just has to put, like, I mean, obviously I never like make a big deal of it, but I'll dress it up as going upstairs to the toilet, but I'll make sure as I'm doing it that I peek my head around, which, and I'm not saying this in any way, shape or form as if like it's my parents' fault what happened to me. Of course it isn't. But that was the thing. When we were growing up, they didn't do that. Hours could go by and we could literally do anything.
That's a really good question. I am hyper aware of every man that I meet that has been in contact with my kids in terms of teachers and other parents. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm putting in necessarily. I'm certainly not aware. And now you've mentioned it, I'm going to keep an eye open to see. I, as far as I'm aware, I'm not putting in extra measures, but I am. My God, when I'm meeting like a sports teacher or something, or someone who has the opportunity to see my boys naked, I am scanning them. I'm scanning them to see if I can see something within them. Of course, generally, you don't see something within people like that. But yeah, I'm intensely studying the men that have contact with my kids.
Like, yeah, I mean, one of the things that surprised me the most was when I started, particularly telling my close friends who I'd been to school with and had grown up around. I honestly, at first, was talking to them in a way of like, okay, I've told you this, now you tell me yours. And to a man and woman, every single time, it was like, no, nothing like that. Because like we'd all been altar boys, or we'd all been, in similar school settings and stuff like that. And they were like, and so I did honestly, I took some relief from thinking, because I'd spent so long thinking, there's no point, especially when the Me Too movement started, it was like, God, everybody's been through this. And I know there's a lot of us that have, and more, and I also, it's why, like, when you said before that yours wasn't as bad as mine, I just don't see it that way. I just think anything that's happened to anybody it's all bad one way or another. And this
is one of my faults, is I'm constantly quantifying it, and this is one of my failings, is that I'm constantly going,
no.
Mine wasn't that bad.
Don't talk about faults and failings. Again, it's how you survive it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You diminish it. Oh, it'll be all right. It wasn't that bad. It probably happened to everyone. That thing is what a kid will tell themselves. Because how do you put it any other way?
Yeah. No, I know.
I was 8 when it happened to me. I've got an 8-year-old next door, and actually, when I think about what happened to me, if that happened to him,
that's not light, is it?
No, it's not.
And the thing I think that you do that's brilliant, and I'm sure you're the same, having spoken to you now, Christopher, for a while, is that you can check in with your kids in other ways. You can make sure that line of dialogue is open. You don't have to say it, when they're really little. They don't have to know the detail of it, but just to know that they can talk to you about anything that makes them feel weird.
I have put in a measure. I occasionally, when my kids, I'm very good at talking with my kids about feelings and stuff, man, because my parents never did.
Yeah.
And I have occasionally, like after sports and stuff or swimming, and sometimes they come out and they're like a bit quiet and a bit down, and I'm, very gently, how was swimming today? That was all right. You a bit quiet. Is everything okay? Yeah, it's fine. Did you get told off? No. Did you get into an argument with a friend? No. Did someone touch you? I do ask that. I do ask that question. I mix it in with some other questions. But did anyone touch you or anything?
And the thing I've set in place with my girls is anything that makes your stomach feel funny. Anything like that, you can always talk to me about it, because it's not your secret to keep. That's the main thing.
No, and actually, to what you were saying, Kat, I think, like, I like to think that both me and my wife, we are totally, like, we always have done, we talk to our kids as if they're adults, which actually can lead to as many problems as it can positive. But in this sort of regard, it's like, we're establishing a relationship with them that is very much like, you can tell us anything, and we will hear it and listen to it. And like, I mean, sometimes it scares me, but my eldest has had moments where, like, she had a little episode through lockdown where she basically just run out of things to do at the house. She'd swung the swing as many times as she could do it and gone down the slide, and she was bored, and her sister had gone back to school because of the year she was in, and I saw her outside in the back garden just crying, like just having a little weep.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, I was like, you know, and it scared me because it was like, and it was just of what it scared me because of what's in my head in those moments, and I've been in that position. But then we didn't just brush it off or be like, come in here, cheer up, or anything like that. We instead went up and sat her down and said, what's wrong? And asked her to articulate it. So, yeah, you know, in that sense, again, there's those, I do put those checks in place. I think I suppose what I'm trying to say is I envy the parents who can just, you know, be at a dinner party and not have to think about it because they've never had to think about it. But, you know, once you've been through what I've been through, it's impossible not to. And that's where it's like, it's forever affected.
I am hyper aware as well when I'm playing with kids, like hyper aware of physical contact, of where my eyes are looking, of everything. And it's one of the things that annoys me is there's a constant voice in the back of my head going, what does that look like? What does that look like to other people? And listen, I love playing with kids. I love getting hands-on with kids. And I'm aware that it's more appropriate at certain times than others. But I'm really aware, even with my boys, what does this look like to someone else who's watching? And it's just a constant noise in my head.
And the other thing is that kids really gravitate towards you. You know, he's the dad in the park.
Magnet.
He's the dad in the park that ends up swinging everyone's kid on the zip line. You know,
but I'm really
honestly,
aware
I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
of, you know, and I'm aware of looking at, you know, I like pulling faces on trains to kids and stuff. I'm aware of looking at kids. I'm aware of where my hands are. I'm aware of what a parent might think, all of this stuff, you know, and it's good to be cautious, of course it is, but I'm overly cautious.
But it's all part of that thing
But
about the shame not being yours.
Yeah, but I wonder if what you're talking about there is that as a result you overcompensate, but
totally.
in a good way. Like there are people who say haven't been through these things, who then perhaps because they don't want to risk it, don't do anything. They're just ambivalent to any child they walk past. But I'm like what you're describing there is exactly how I interact with kids. Anytime a kid makes eye contact with me, I always smile, blow a raspberry.
Totally.
Well, not wink because that's problematic, but you know, do anything where it's like making them just feel happy or okay.
Yeah,
playing with kids like we used to do.
And that's exactly it. You're trying to make it. You're trying to do something for that kid that wasn't happy. So if you can just brighten someone's day a little bit, well, I completely get why you're doing it. It's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant side effect of something bloody awful that should never have happened.
Christopher, can I ask you a question? And you have the absolute right to say no to this, but you mentioned earlier on that you hope that part of your experience evolves into you being able to help people. Would you be okay if we put this phone call out as a standalone podcast? If you say no, we won't.
No, that'd be cool, man. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Or do you want to sit on it a bit and think about it?
I was going to say, why don't you have a think about it over the weekend and email us and let us know, because if you change your mind, I mean, it'll be in the YouTube and stuff. We could take it out if you really wanted to, but if you change your mind and didn't want it as a podcast, then we wouldn't put it out. The only thing I would say is that it from the chat, a lot of people are remembering stuff. A lot of people are remembering stuff. Let me put it like that, and finding it incredibly helpful. But I say that not in any way to put any pressure on your decision. I just know a lot of people will get a lot out of it.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's like, I mean, the only thing, and I'm aware that in what I'm about to say, it's potentially creating work, but I'm sure, like, I don't think I've said anything that is either incriminating or
you've mentioned no names. We don't know where you are or anything like that. We've just got your name.
Yeah. I mean, it's that thing where it's like, I haven't really got anything to, I mean, it kind of to the point you said before about it's not my shame, is it? It's his shame. That's the other thing, isn't it? It's like, I've not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And if it's something that can help people, or if people can, I've no problem with it, because also one of the things I want to do, I want to do something creative with it, and if this is a starting point, something I can use as a tool, listen back to, it'd be. I don't think I'll have a problem with it, but I'll email you on Monday.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you email us, so we've got your email address, I will make it. I will send it to you. You can have a listen to it if you want to, and think about it that way. So then you've got total control.
Yeah,
if there are any bits you don't want in there, I'll take them out.
Yeah.
If you don't want it played, I will take it out.
No, sure. I appreciate that. That's really kind. I mean, does it offend you if I tell you that I listen to podcasts at 1.8 speed?
Now, what is that? That's a
Time.
That's a thing, isn't it? And I've never quite got round to doing it because I don't actually have as many. I'm not behind on my podcasts or my audiobooks. But
I listen to too many.
Yeah, well, that's it. Have you got like a big backlog, and that just helps you get through it?
I subscribe to about like 50 odd. I don't not that are publishing regularly, but like I've got ones that are in the heavy rotation, and I have like. There was a point where I was always up to date on your guys' show as well, but occasionally I'll miss a couple of days and I'll have to like
He's
scrub
seeing
some out.
other podcasts behind our back.
Can't believe this is how he tells us.
I know.
Tati says 1.8 is very specific. Why not 1.5 or 2?
Because I've been working my way up to it. So I started at 1 and I went 1.2.
Wow.
I went to 1.2. Went up to 1.5. I'm now at 1.8. I cannot break the 2 times barrier, but
Wow.
it will come, because this is the other thing.
This is a gateway.
Like it is honestly. Once you get used to it, like actually, to be fair, I haven't noticed it, but I should find this conversation weird hearing you two at this point.
Why are they so slow?
But I have. Yeah. Why do you both sound so simple? Why do you sound so stupid, guys? Because that's the other thing. When you've been listening at 1.8 speed and you go back to 1 speed, you all sound drunk and high and like it's screwed with my head so much. I talk about like being unwell. I'll tell my brother about it sometimes because I'll listen to something really funny and I'll say, "You should listen to this. It's dead funny," and he'll say, "I listened to it. It wasn't that funny." And I was like, "Well, it was funny at 1.8 speed, but maybe the timing doesn't work as well normal."
Comedy is all about the timing. Christopher, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and partly because it's fascinating to hear, but also, Catherine and I are always amazed that people want to share this stuff with us, and it means it's validation of what we're trying to do. So I really appreciate it. And you can call any point.
Also, I wanted to say your wife sounds awesome. And I wonder whether there is some way of getting her a little bit of support as well, because you've been in it together, but her experience would be a bit different from yours. And that thing. I was going to say that thing about the tension. So I was going to say that thing about the tension when you realise that she's more aware, and maybe there's a technique or something like that. She could get a bit of guidance because she won't be doing it on purpose. You know that, of course.
No, I do. Yeah, she took her time to look out for some help, but I was really proud of her and glad when she did because, I always felt, this is a problematic phrase, but I would say things to people. I would talk about it in times like there was this poison inside of me and all I was doing by sharing with people was passing it on. And and I know that's the wrong way to think about it, but as a result of thinking in those terms, I'd then be like, well, I went through this trauma. I've got some form of PTSD, perhaps, or anything like that. I've never been diagnosed, right? But it's a trauma in itself being told about these things, especially if it's about something you care about.
Yeah,
so she's. I'm always really glad that she gets some help, but then sometimes she's a bit more stoic than not. She'll because she's putting on a face for me because she doesn't want to add to my tension, and it's like. Again, it sounds crass to say, but honestly, at this stage, knowing, like, even just her knowing, even me knowing she was struggling at various points, or, like a little bit overwhelmed by it all, or worried about where I am or what I'm doing. Like, I make light of it a lot, but then there are moments. She had a turn of phrase the other couple of weeks back where, as much as I think it's a good thing, to be honest with her, and for example, to acknowledge the fact that I think about death all the time, and I fantasize about not being around and stuff like that. And I know I'm never going to do it. I know I've got too many other things to do. My problem is I have no self-esteem, and so it's that I won't do anything as stupid as that until I've ticked off everything on my list that I have to do, which is like provide for my kids.
I know that exact thought pattern. Wow, I've never heard it verbalized before.
And it's like, so in my head, I know I'm not a flight risk, but she talks about how, like, you know, if she tries to phone me and I don't answer the phone twice, she's suddenly, maybe this will give too much away, and you might have to edit this bit out if you know what I'm about to say. But I'm building the house that we're going to live in forever. Like, you know, I'm building our forever home. We found this idyllic house that we really, really like, and I'm working on it. And I've been for quite a while now. And she said a couple of weeks ago that she can't shake this feeling that I've purposely designed certain parts of the house with my suicide in mind. And when she said that to me, she couldn't be more wrong. But at the same time, I knew exactly what she was talking about. You know, like high ceilings or girders in certain places. And I was really glad that I was able to say to her, I haven't done that.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
she needs help away from you.
Yeah.
And by that, what I mean is, her own therapist, her own counsellor, where it's her, where she could, because that's a heavy thing for someone to for a partner to carry around. I'm not in any way blaming you that she's carrying it around.
No,
that's just her own defense system is kicking in because she's concerned about you and she's worried about you, and you've expressed, you know, what people don't understand, Christopher, maybe you'll identify with this, is I feel suicidal a lot. But it doesn't mean I'm going to kill myself. It's two different things for me. There have been times when I have been close to killing myself, but being suicidal and killing myself are two different things. But the fact that she is having those thoughts, it means that she needs somewhere private and safe where she can go and share all that stuff. You know.
I was. Can I say? When things were really tough with you, Iain, I was worried that I was going to get a phone call or I was going to be the one that was going. And I realised that I couldn't live like that every day, wondering if I didn't speak to you or if I said something, would I trigger it? Would it, you know? And you can't live like that. I was lucky in that I got to speak to someone who, you know, made me breathe properly for a bit, you know, and realise that. Not my fault, not my control, you know, and I had to have a bit of self-preservation, and that's why I say to you that you both need a little bit of care and a little bit of love, and to be able to speak freely to someone outside it, maybe, because it's no way to live, and she'll be being brave for you, and she'll be being a lioness and everything, but she's probably also been very frightened.
She'll be knackered.
Yeah,
carrying all that stuff. As you know,
I think there is a great privilege. Like, even though obviously I'll have moments where I have to try and remind myself that, like, it's my story and I'm the victim, or you know, like give myself permission at times to think about me.
Yeah.
There is also, I think, a great privilege in. I've got a privilege that other people don't have, which is that I know what's going on in my head. So as you said, Iain, like, I know what my definition of suicidal thoughts is, and it's incredibly similar to yours. But if you just say that to a person, they just jump straight to, like, so what you tell me, like, you just, every single day you want to die, and it's like, well, yes, no, yes and no, like, you know,
but and it's not. I'm going to go home and I'm going to do it. It's Jesus. My default, and I don't get it so much now. My default is if something goes wrong, and by wrong I mean a light bulb goes, or I piss on the floor instead of the toilet, or something like that. God, shit, I wish I was dead. That's kind of my default thing, and it's just kind of this bubbling thing. I wish I was dead. I wish I was dead. Now, actually, I'm not going to act on that. And actually, if I were to break it down, I don't really wish I was dead. But having suicidal thoughts does not mean you're even going to go and buy the rope. To be so blunt, you know.
No.
It's a mindset that people who don't have.
And
those
my
don't
version
understand.
of that is my version of that is that I persuade myself in my worst moments that my wife and my kids would be better off if I wasn't around. And I also persuade myself that I wouldn't raise I wouldn't have married a person like my wife, and I wouldn't have raised kids like my kids who couldn't look after themselves without me. That, like, as much as they'd be affected emotionally and stuff like this, on a practical level, they'll be fine because
And that's
I've
the
raised them
insanity
well,
of it,
and my wife is a really strong. Yeah.
And that's the insanity of it, because if you take one step back and look at it objectively, no one benefits. No, everyone suffers. You know that passing that legacy on to our kids. You know, do you know any? Name me one kid whose parent committed suicide and they're having a great time. It doesn't happen. You know.
But also, the truth is that part of the reason why your kids are brilliant and part of the reason why your wife is incredible is you.
Yeah, I am pretty amazing.
There we go.
Take that,
Christopher. Thank you, man.
No, it's all right. Can I just say before you cut me off?
If he says up your bum or something like that, I'm going to cut him off. I'll be furious.
No. Right. The first. So I can't figure out if the first part is going to be a compliment. But first time I ever heard you.
Yes.
Oh, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. The first time I heard you on the radio after like the 11 o'clock years was when you were on Absolute, and the very first show I ever heard of yours was the I don't know how many times you did it, but it was the whole show was sung.
Oh,
you remember doing that?
We did it once, and we were going to do it again at Talk, and then we didn't because I think a bomb went off. I think there was a terrorist attack, so we couldn't do it, or there was an idiot in a car.
It seemed a bit inappropriate, put it that way.
But we did it at Absolute once, yeah.
Yeah, but like, because I've always just thought, whenever you guys have been like spitballing, oh, should we try and do this again, or should we do that? And I'm always, it's on the tip of my tongue every single time where it's like, just do the singing episode again, because it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard.
We were going to do it. I had all the music and everything, and then there was a terrorist attack, and so the moment when. Actually, we done it that night.
My recollection is that everybody that phoned up was like played along as well and were fantastic.
Yeah.
And you would cut people off who started speaking. You're like, no, you've got to sing. And
everyone did
I was working nights at the time, so I couldn't do it. But the other thing about that night,
you should have done this. You should have done this call singing. That would have taken the edge off a bit.
That's very true, isn't it? But I'd have struggled to rhyme. I think that would have been the difficulty. I also, the first time I was listening, so I knew about you and I enjoyed you on TV and stuff like that. But your voice, that first time I listened, I honestly listened to the whole thing thinking you were Roland Rivron.
Oh wow! Okay, I'll take that. Okay. Wow.
But like, I went to the extent that I went home to my future wife after that shift and said, I just did this really good like radio show last night. Roland Rivron's got a show, and I tried googling it for ages and I couldn't find it, and then eventually figured out it was you instead, and then I was hooked. I don't think he ever did a radio show.
No, he did a lot of booze, and I once didn't get on a bus because I saw he was on it, and I'd met him once, and I just didn't know what to say to him.
I don't think, as much as your voices are the same, I don't think I'd have had the same level of like connection, like listening to you over the years. And there's a couple of American guys that I listen to as well, and it's like sometimes the amount of times that you guys are having conversations that just, you know, I can finish your sentences as I hear you talking, because I'm just like, yeah, that's how I feel.
All right,
that's how
it's getting a little bit weird now. It's getting a little bit weird now, Christopher. A little bit creepy. Listen,
so
stay safe.
Put the podcast off the table, man.
Stay safe. Give us a call anytime, and thank you. I really appreciate that. You've given me a lot to think about and consider, so thank you very much.
Well, I kept my promise to myself, so I'm very glad we talked. And I apologise to everybody for taking up quite a long part of the show.
No. Don't apologise. We were glad that you found us.
Take care, man. Lots of love.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
I am going to close the phones.
Yeah.
Because what are we going to say after that? Thank you. Jim gets it right. What a show. One night quiz night, another night that. And that's it.
That's what we always wanted it to be.
That's it.
Yeah.
Going from Nigel to this, going from, yesterday, what I believe was a rigged competition. I look back at the tapes and I saw bits of paper being passed around, emails being received. So I think it was a rigged competition. Let me finish, to Christopher's very powerful story.
Well, But you know the two things are connected. I know it seems like it's a different show every day, but Christopher rang us because Ian made him laugh at some point.
What do you mean at some point? Constantly?
I mean, constantly throughout the years. So he's just been a giggle fest, obviously. But what I'm saying is that it's people underestimate the power of being daft on the radio.
I was getting very strict with the timeouts there because first of all, we have to play adverts. I'm really, really sorry. So if you mention the ads, you got a timeout. If you kept on mentioning it, you got banned. I'm really sorry. Yeah, of course they seemed inappropriate, but what can I tell you? I've got to do it. I'm contractually obliged to do it. Yeah, can we get the link for the Samaritans?
I was going to say, can we do the number?
Someone will do that. One of the mods will put that up. And also people that were people that were giving direct suggestions about the police. That phone call wasn't about the police. That phone call, the police were the trigger for it, but it wasn't about that. And I didn't really want to go down that route, and so that's why I was timing people out. So if you feel you're hard done by, Officer Krupke. Should we do changing rooms on Monday?
Could do it Monday if you want, yeah.
Well, it's 10 to midnight. I've got 2 boys in there. I'm hoping they're still awake.
They shouldn't be in there anymore, should they? I thought they'd been decanted.
Yeah, they won't have gone to the den. Can we do it on Monday?
Let's do it Monday.
Let's do it Monday. I would enjoy the gear change a lot, but also I would like to get to bed a lot. There's the Samaritans. 116 123. 116 123.
Yes, decanted into a different room. Stroke house.
Oh yeah, I'm singing a song.
You know when you say your youngest is a little bit...
Yours.
That's who I just saw there. I don't think it's entirely his fault.
I'm gonna make myself... Here's the thing.
A big sandwich.
I screwed... Oh, I will do a sandwich, actually. I've got some cheese and I've got bread. I've screwed up. Look, we've got none of the Alpha Sync. We've got none of the phone numbers or any of that. But do you know what? That worked really well, that call. Because that call... Look at my hair's thinning.
No, it's not. It's just parted in a weird way.
What's that? What's that hole? That's a COVID hole.
No, it's not a COVID
You know
hole.
you lose hair if you've got COVID.
Yeah, but your hair's all over.
I'll part your face in a...
Whoa.
way.
No, you won't.
It's horrible. Yeah, what a show from Dick and Tom to Chris and Net.
Yes.
My feet are looking a lot better.
Surprisingly, because he showed me him earlier in the week and it looked like corned beef.
Looking all right, isn't it? Oh, what's this? What have we paid for Skype? £10 to Skype. Okay, so you owe me £10.
Take it out of me wages.
Oh!
Don't even.
I'm going to counter that. Oh, due to a copyright takedown notice that we received, we had to take down your video from YouTube. Video title: John Gaunt Talks Wells.
Is this the very serious punishment? Wow, you've been dealt with severely.
If you believe you're not at fault in one or more of the instances below, you can appeal this takedown by submitting a counter notification.
There may be severe legal consequences for submitting a counter notification with false information. Well, that's not a problem from this side.
All I was doing was fair dealing. Let's have a look. Where's the counter? Submit a copyright counter notification. Counter notifications must be submitted by the videos. Okay, right. Submit if the video is taken down to a mistaken. All right. YouTube requires certain info in your counter notification. Your counter notification must meet all legal requirements. Clearly explain why your use of the copyrighted content in your own words. If is your use of the content protected by fair use, fair dealing, or a similar exception to copyright?
And is the content in the public domain?
Yes, and indeed, yes. So I'm going to be submitting. So we go to, let's do that now, because I've got a copyright strike against me and I will not stand for that. So to submit a copyright counter notification, you sign into YouTube Studio. Yes. From the left menu, select videos and the impacted video. Video struck one strike. Do nothing strikes. Okay. Select action. Submit counter notification. Okay, continue. Full name. Oh, they want... Okay, I'll put an address in.
Full legal name.
Okay, Iain Felix Diamond Lee.
There we go.
Phone.
And Skinny Jean Gardner, yes, indeed, we will put Dick and Dom out as a separate podcast.
None of your business. None of your goddamn business. Now, what do I do here?
Allow. Yes. Tricky.
Here's the trick, guys. I am about to give.
No, you're not. Let's think about this.
No, I'm going.
Don't put your address in there.
I'm not going to. I'm going to put my post office box.
Okay.
Shouldn't we think about this longer? It seems you are effectively making a legal contract. But it was fair dealing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fair dealing. I was using fair dealing. So
Also, he was discussing you.
He was discussing me. Hang on a minute. Let me just do something very, very quickly. Well, this is escalated, isn't it? I just need to. Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, hive, and the world is turning. Let's just put that there. Right. Okay. Do that. Let's learn more. Yeah, no, it's fair dealing. It's fair dealing, and it's about me. The brief video is a viewing of material that is widely, is that how you spell widely?
Yes.
Available online. The original presenter is talking specifically about me in a...
And has been doing so regularly for some time.
Pejorative, is that the word?
Pejorative, yes.
Pejorative or per?
Pejorative is right.
Pejorative way, and has been doing so for quite some time. Many of his videos belittle me, bully me, and are borderline libelous. In this brief clip,
It's a reaction clip.
in this brief reaction clip, I am simply fair dealing. I am simply defending myself and defending myself
And my business.
and my professional reputation. I believe I am following the broadcast rules of fair dealing, in as much as I am watching and commenting specifically on the content of a brief clip. Yes. Signed. Submit. The claimant will have 10 business days to review your counter notification. If they don't provide proof of a court action against you, your videos will be reinstated.
Good.
We'll send you an email to let you know the final outcome. Hang on, is he going to take me to court?
Come on.
There we go. It's done. It's fair dealing. It's fair dealing. Simple as that. Simple as that. Right. We are done. We are done.
Thank you for your time this evening. We realise that you have a choice when it comes to Twitch. And we're glad that you decided to fly with us.
Who is Cordial Wheat? Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, guys. What's this?
And
Who is this? Do you know?
I do.
you can go in there.
Let's go and rate her.
Let's go.
Someone we've been to
Gotta
before.
put you somewhere. Put you
We're
somewhere.
going to do a raid.
Stop
Have a
some
lovely
buttons,
weekend.
playing
Sorry there was no.
Hell, it this whole damn time. I guess this game crashed.
No man, oh man yesterday, no changing rooms today, but we'll keep it special for you.
It is all to come.
Excuse me.
Stardew Valley, is it? Yeah.
Oh, this is the one I'm supposed to have got, I think.
Yeah.
I might still.
Have a lovely weekend. Stay safe. And we will speak again on Monday. Tatty bye.
Night.